just fell off a ski lift. He was called in for questioning. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Oh, welcome to the show. It doesn't look like my Buffalo Bills will be making the playoffs this year, but we will get to that a little bit later on. Good morning, Perloff. Big day for you yesterday.
Oh, my gosh. First of all, you're 5-4 in the AFC, and I love the playoffs are already out of the question. You are such a negative fan. It is unbelievable. As opposed to me, who sees the bright side of everything. And because my Eagles won and now are 8-1.
And you were in the link yesterday. You were there front and center. You got some last-minute tickets that came through, so you got to witness this firsthand. And the story of the game, to me, is actually not about your Eagles. It's, again, about the Dallas Cowboys and the inability in the biggest moment for Dak Prescott and the offense to come through. And there has to be so many frustrated Cowboy fans today because A, Dak played really well throughout the game, and two, you were there in the final drive where you get the ball back because you forced Philly to go 3 and out. You have no timeouts. You move the ball. You get a couple penalties. It looks like the Eagles are imploding. Like they are just handing you the game, and you get the ball down to the 6-yard line, not able to convert. Then you're going backwards, where the final play for the Cowboys is at the 26 after being at the 6. And if you're the Cowboys, you got to be sick about it.
Yeah, I don't see the final minute like that at all. I see it as the Cowboys went up against probably the most effective unit in the league. When the Eagles know you're passing the ball and those 4 guys up front can pin their ears back, they're going to get anybody. I mean, your guys aren't going to like this, but if they played on a normal field in the Super Bowl, that's exactly what would happen to Patrick Mahomes. That pass rush is the most effective thing in the NFL. Where's that going to go? If Josh Sweat and all those guys know they can rush the passer, they are absolutely unbeatable, and they won every single one-on-one matchup. Honestly, they were lucky to get down the field. Then, of course, at the 6-yard line, the Eagles' pass rush is going to come and destroy them because they're not running the ball.
Okay,
so they knew they had to pass. So that's a hard situation against the Eagles.
Okay, but if you're the Cowboys, like this is the reality is you've got to take advantage of those opportunities when you get them. And it feels like every time they're right on the doorstep. Stop me if you've heard this one, Cowboys fans. Right when they're on the doorstep, something happens. And whether it's penalties that back them up, whether it's the bad sacks that Dak Prescott took on the second to last drive and the last drive, like it's always the banana peel. They will find it.
It'd be nice if they were winning one of these games and blew it instead of you keep expecting the Cowboys to go the length of the field in 30 seconds with no timeouts like that San Francisco playoff game.
Yeah.
What if they were actually winning a game? Wouldn't that be nice? But honestly, they were not the better team yesterday. You can't win in today's NFL when you have one offensive player. That's all they have.
Yep.
They are CeeDee Lamb or bust. You can't beat the Eagles if you can't run the football. So I'm not sure. There's no way. It's really hard to come out of that situation with a win when you're kind of a limited offense. And if the Eagles had just chosen to cover CeeDee Lamb, that's a 3-touchdown game. I'm not sure why the Eagles were like, you know what? You have one great player. Let's leave him alone to run around and get some yards.
Kobe theory. It's like, we'll just let Kobe get 50 and then we'll stop everybody else.
So, honestly, if you look at those two teams, I think the Eagles are clearly, at least especially in the link, a better team. Because the Cowboys, what are they? I mean, if you slow down Micah Parsons on defense, they're not going to really kill you. And somehow they did that. And if you don't throw to CeeDee Lamb, who's beating you?
Well, they were so close on 2 different plays, the ones that stand out. The Ferguson near touchdown where his knee goes down literally 1.5 inches away from the end zone, which obviously would have changed things. And then on the Dak Prescott 2-point conversion where Dak is leaning out to get the 2-point conversion, which would have made this a field goal game rather than a 5-point deficit. It would have been 3. And his right toe went out of bounds. And it came down to those small things. And I can't even, you're not going to kill Prescott for those 2 instances. But then when the football gods give you the chance to redeem yourself late in the game and in the final moments of the game, and you just can't do it. It's got to be frustrating for the Cowboy fan.
I get it. But the other thing, too, Dak Prescott completely sold out to win that game. You think Dak's going to last if he took 2 hits that looked like they were from 1988?
It was like the helicopter. It almost like the helicopter, like the John Elway playing.
Right. He flipped on his head.
Yep.
We've seen enough Dak Prescott. Dak's really wanted to win that game last night. He's not even going to be there for the second Eagles game if he keeps playing like that. There's just no way Dak Prescott. How many times did Dak run yesterday? This is an old school Dak Prescott. He is going to get hurt. He had a sack where he landed on his head too in the fourth quarter. This is not sustainable for the Cowboys. I thought it was a really kind of a limited Cowboys team last night because the Eagles were limping around the whole time, the second half, and they still controlled the game. I understand what you're saying, the Cowboys blew it, but I think the better team won the game.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We get it started early with the Cowboys. Carlos, can we hear from Dak Prescott saying a few inches was the difference in the game? Cut number 2, please.
It's a game of inches. It's why you got to love this game. It's tough. It's tough to win. We fought our asses off. Obviously, they did. Great NFC's matchup. They came out with it tonight. But as you just said, an inch or two on one of those 3 plays, and we could be talking about a different outcome.
Yeah, I mean, he's right about that. It was crazy how close the Cowboys were and just couldn't get it done. Another story of this game was penalties. They were all over the place. Both teams combined for 20 penalties, 10 each, and almost 200 yards of penalty yardage. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was worrisome. The Eagles never have penalties. So I always have trouble when there's a game like that. Were they calling it tight or were the teams really playing sloppy football? I'm not sure. I guess you'd have to go look at the tape, but it did seem there was an amazing amount of illegal contact penalties. It seemed like they wanted to call illegal contact or defensive holding because how many times was the Cowboys have 3rd and 15 and get a flag to save it? That's the other thing. The Cowboys, they pulled a lot of rabbits out of their hat yesterday. They had, how many 4th downs did they convert? How many 3rd and 20s?
They were perfect on 4th down. They were 3 for 5 on 4th down, where the Eagles were 2 for 2, of course, because it's the touch point.
Yeah, the Cowboys had a lot of 3rd and 20s after a sack where they found, I mean, the game to me was really won on the lines by the Eagles. And also, the Eagles are smart. They don't let Micah Parsons beat them. That's what the Cowboys want to do. They need to get a lead, and they need to come downhill with their pass rush, and they just were not able to do that last night, not consistently. This is such a game of health. And, we're talking about your Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
The entire defense,
no health.
The entire defense was out last night, and they still came close. I was actually rather more impressed in that. The Eagles are not healthy right now. They have a bye coming up. If the Eagles are healthy, they're still last year's team. So I think a lot of people are saying, why are they 8-1, but they look like every game, they look like they have to win at the last second. Last year, they blew everyone out. I think it's a matter of health, and that's the story of this year.
Okay,
all
but
over the NFL.
Who, Jalen Hurts?
Well, Jalen Hurts is 50% at best. He can't run the ball at all. He's averaging 3 yards a carry where he's usually 7 yards a carry.
Okay, well, first of all, he is playing with that bad knee that got dinged up again yesterday. He's got that huge, bulky knee brace on.
Yeah.
And I actually thought he had a lot of time yesterday. Who are the other big injuries that you're missing here? Guys might not be 100%, but you don't have a lot of guys out.
Well, now Goddard's out.
No, Goddard's out, and
Which
I know
is
at one point in the final drive you did lose Slay
Slay
and you did use
Bradbury.
but like those guys are in the lineup.
It hurts.
It's not like dudes on
No,
IR.
I'm just saying if Hurts isn't you could say whatever you want. You could look at the Eagles' schedule and say, oh, they could get home field if they win this game. If Jalen Hurts isn't healthy, what are we doing here? You saw him limping. I was actually Googling what can Marcus Mariota squat to see if he can actually run the tush push. Because if Marcus Mariota is a tall, skinny guy, can he do the tush push? Because he's playing. I mean, Jalen Hurts looks like he needs surgery right now.
Here's the thing. You're 8-1 right now, and you have the best record in the NFL. So you might be able to afford to sacrifice a few games at the end of the season, and maybe Mariota does get in, and it could be the best thing for you, just like last year.
Yeah, just like last year. There was a play where Jalen Hurts was out in the flat with a linebacker one-on-one. Usually it was a 20-yard gain. But he just went down after a yard again and again and again. The Eagles are designed to have quarterback runs. They can't run the football if there's no RPO, which is not ideal. I think, and the other thing I disagree, I think Dak Prescott was unbelievable last night. I think he is elite. And I think a lot of people came away with a negative headline. I'm probably a little too high on him. Would you put him now? That was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL performance yesterday.
He was excellent until they had to get the ball in the end zone. He was excellent all day. But when they needed it in those final two drives, taking 2 bad sacks, I mean, it has to come down on Prescott. I'm sorry. It has to come down on him. Even if he played this incredible game, the Cowboy fan has seen that incredible game. The Cowboy fan knows what that looks like and knows that he looks great. But do you trust Dak Prescott on a final drive? Like on the road in Philadelphia when you have a chance, an opportunity to steal one because the Eagles were handing it to you. I mean, you're not going to be able to get that much penalty yardage like on a silver platter. And then at the end, just came up with absolute bupkis. I don't see how Dak skates without getting any criticism from yesterday.
He just made so many plays with his legs yesterday. I just don't think he can stay healthy doing this. There were so many times the pass rush was all over him. He found escape. His numbers were unbelievable. Yeah, that's interesting. I think we should put a poll out on Dak Prescott because if he plays like that, the Cowboys are a very dangerous team. Where's the run game? Remember Tony Romo told us they were going to run the ball, and then everyone. That's interesting. They're not really playing the style that they advertise.
Yeah, that was supposed to be Mike McCarthy, right? It was going to be the complimentary football where they were going to be able to chew up more clock and all of that. And yeah, you don't really see that. Here is Dak Prescott. Even he thought they were going to win the game on that final drive.
At no point in my mind throughout that game did I think anything different. Obviously, it sucked in the first possession or that second to last possession, not converting that fourth down, but having tons of trust in our defense. They go out there and they do what they need to do, get us the ball back, and with under a minute left, still got trust that we're going to go out there and we're going to trust and faith just in our guys and with the work that we've put in that we're going to get it done. And yeah, we got close. We got close. We're doing things the right way. We just got an inch here, an inch there, make that difference, and we'll find a way to gain that.
Wait, is that old sound or is that this year? It sounds like pretty much a few other years too.
1st and 5 at the Philadelphia 6, penalty on Tyler Smith for a false start. 1st and 10 at the 11, Prescott sacked for minus 11 yards. 2nd and 21 at the 22, incomplete. 3rd and 21 at the 22, delay of game penalty. 3 and 26, this is your ball game, and the ball doesn't even go to the end zone. Which I don't know if that was by design. You're trying to get it to, CeeDee Lamb and then have him make a move. I don't get it. You have to at least get the ball to the end zone because there's no time left on the clock. That has got to be something that just eats at the Cowboy fan today.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't complete. You're right, because 3rd and 26 is such a high odds play.
At least get it to the end zone.
Well, honestly, thank God that CeeDee Lamb did get a little bit of an angle. They had 5 guys on him. If you watch the play. All the Eagles are standing at the goal line, so I don't think there was much open in the end zone.
It just goes to show that you had this amazing opportunity. Like, you're not going to get – this is the thing about the NFL. It very rarely gets gift wrapped to you. At some point, you've got to go take it. And the Eagles were doing their damnedest to actually gift wrap this to the Cowboys, and they could not go take it.
I still like the Eagles in that situation. Pushing them back to the 11 that's the second I knew that game was over.
Well, that was sweat.
It is really hard when you have no timeouts. You can't throw anything over the middle. The Eagles know exactly where you're going to go. It's a tough situation for a quarterback. What's going to be open at 11-yard line with 24 seconds clock? And if there's a play in the middle of the field, the game's over.
You know who completed a pass with the game on the line?
Who?
About 11. C.J. Stroud. And that's a rookie.
Yeah, he's going against Tampa Bay. We could put the 4 of us in this right now. We could get 7 more players and score 26 points on Tampa.
The situation is we've seen Tom Brady, we've seen quarterbacks from that situation make a play, and Dak Prescott once again came short.
Bring C.J. Stroud into the link. That was a home game against. You guys don't understand how bad the Bucs are. The Bucs are terrible. I'm telling you, that's one thing. Let's see him lose every single battle up front and have the pressure on him all game and see him do that at the link. That's a hard expectation to me.
You got a guy in Prescott who's a veteran in this league, who is one of the, thought to be one of the good quarterbacks in this league. And it's not just this one time. If it was one time and he always comes through, it'd be like, well, you know what? Yeah, let's just give credit to the Eagles and you tip your cap and you live another day. But this is the thing that keeps Cowboy fans up at night, is having the opportunity right there and Cowboys slip on a banana peel. And that's what it felt like. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. How was the cheesesteak yesterday?
Oh, I had this cheesesteak. I have to get the name of the place. Interesting. You guys know cheesesteaks. They don't chop up the cheesesteak. It's layers of, it's called a non-chopped steak or something. It was kind of gross, but kind of amazing. So it was just this giant slab of beef. So actually, Pats and Geno's do it this way too, but I don't like it. You have to chop up the cheesesteak into little bits, right? When you think of cheesesteak, yeah, they just lay it out flat. I'll put a picture out, and you guys can decide: is this the kind of cheesesteak you want? It was hard to eat. It was disgusting, and unfortunately, you guys had to hear it on the phone because we did our production call.
Yeah.
But we were in desperate. We had not eaten in hours, so because we could not get it. We couldn't leave our seats during that game. It was so close the entire game. We did not eat a hot dog, nothing. Hadn't eaten in 8 hours. Had to do the production call from Warminster, Pennsylvania, which I'd never even heard of.
That's a life-saving cheesesteak.
It was 9:30, and there were 70 Eagles fans in this place an hour from the link. It was crazy.
855-212-4CBS. Another thing on the Cowboys, the trade deadline came and went. The Cowboys didn't do anything. And Jerry was talking up a big game, and I thought last night, especially, like, it looked like you actually did. You did need another receiver. You knew you needed another receiver. Brandon Cooks says the signing in the offseason was not going to be enough, and Michael Gallup can be taken out of a game.
Wow.
Or someone else to run the ball, which I don't know if you had to do that at the trade deadline, but someone else to run the ball would be nice.
Also, a couple teams, the Eagles and I think the Bills, how they didn't get it. Not having a cornerback is a huge problem. I'm shocked. The Eagles' defensive backfield is one of the worst in the league right now, and they didn't get anyone. The Bills needed to add a corner too.
They added Rasul Douglas, but he's not playing.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. They got Rasul Douglas, former Eagle. But I think that it's interesting to me too. The Chiefs also, I think, need to add something to the trade deadline. They look like they need a player or two more. I'm not sure. They needed a big wide receiver to help move the sticks, and they didn't get anyone. I was surprised that those contenders didn't make more moves.
We will get to the Chiefs, their win in Germany. We've got more on, to me, the team that is the team to beat in the AFC is not the Chiefs. We'll tell you who that is. And one of the great stories of the NFL just keeps getting better and better and better. We've got so much to do. Want you on board, especially you guys, you Cowboy fans. Are you blaming yesterday on Dak Prescott, his inability to get a touchdown at the end when it was 1st and goal at the 5-6? What did I say? Amazing. Couldn't do it. 855-212-4CBS. What a tease. 855-212-4227. Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. I'm in an interesting spot here. Eagles fan defending Dak Prescott. I'm going to read the stat one more time so everybody understands what Dak did yesterday. Dak Prescott passed for 173 yards in the fourth quarter against the Eagles, while ESPN Analytics posted the Eagles had 13 pass rush wins in the fourth quarter on Sunday, tied for the most by any team in a game in the last 3 years. Dak hung in there every play against a brutal pass rush. They were losing the game. It was designed to put the crunch on the quarterback, and he just hung in there. He couldn't make every play, but I thought he was the best player on the field CeeDee Lamb was the best player on the field, but Dak was pretty close behind. He was way better than Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts was good yesterday.
Nobody is denying that Dak Prescott didn't have a great game. And if you look at the stats, you'll see big, gaudy numbers, and Dak always has really good numbers against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
What happened when you get gifted the ball back, because the Eagles ran 9 plays in their last 3 drives, and you get gifted the ball back, you get the Eagles to start imploding in front of your very eyes. Like, what is going on? How are the Eagles just going to hand this ball away, or hand the game away, rather, and you're not able to do anything with it, and you end up losing that game when you were right there on the doorstep? Yeah. How many chances do you think you're going to have? Cowboy fans know this.
He didn't get the flag on any of those last 3 plays, so what are you going to do? That's the only way you got down the field. The Eagles were guarding the end zone. I think it's a tough spot.
Let's go to the phones, 855-212-4CBS. EJ, we got to figure out how we want to word this poll question, unless you've already worded it.
I've not worded it yet. I'm thinking something along the lines of, who do you blame for last night's loss?
No, I think you could word it. Do you blame Dak Prescott for the Cowboys' loss yesterday?
You want just to keep it to Dak?
Well, I think I win that one.
Yeah,
because that's a little harsh.
Yeah.
But who do you blame? What are the choices, though?
I would say Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott,
do you trust
or the refs.
And do you trust Dak Prescott in that situation? Be honest. Were you kind of waiting for the moment when he was going to do something?
To me, is that we could talk about he had a good game, he played well, he made nice throws. Those are all things we've talked about with Dak Prescott. Like, he's beyond that you played nice on the road. Like, at this point,
He
it's
got
about... It's about winning these games.
He got the ball at the 14-yard line with 45 seconds left and no timeouts against the Eagles defense. I don't understand. What Patrick Mahomes on steroids? How is he going to win that game?
And you just said it yourself. Without those penalties, they got the big play on first down. They got big chunk yards. And then after that, it was the penalties. It was the Eagles handing it over.
He had one beautiful throw on that drive, too. But it's easy to defend the goal line in those situations. That delay a game or whatever, the false start,
the sack was horrendous.
The sack was not horrendous. Watch that play.
Sack. I did watch the play. I've seen so many quarterbacks.
Where was he going to go? Where was he supposed to go?
Back of the end zone. How many times do you see guys in the red zone when you have pressure, just throw a ball in the back of the end zone? There's plenty of guys in there.
He was trying to make a play, and he got caught by surprise because the Eagles won that so fast.
It's just like everything with Dak Prescott's always, my dog ate my homework. Yeah. This guy didn't do this. That guy didn't do that. I got sacked here. They weren't winning the game and lost it. They were losing that football game, and Dak was on fire. That's the only reason they were in that game.
They had a chance at the moment to win the game and couldn't do it. Joe is in Pennsylvania, up first here on this Monday morning. Hey, Joe, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for taking the call.
You got it.
First off, I'm from Philly. I will bleed green and silver every day until I die. But hands down, that Dak played one hell of a game last night. Like, there's no denying that.
Yep.
How many fumbles? How many interceptions?
0.
I was praying for an interception. I was waiting for it. But he held his own under pressure against one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. Hands down. Perloff's right on this one. Like, Dak did an excellent job. And when you want to come down to it, who lost the game? Mike McCarthy. Why wouldn't, when you were on the 6-yard line and you have less than a minute to go, why wouldn't you give it to Pollard and punch it in? At minimum, you got a field goal to tie it and send it to overtime.
No, well, they were down by 5.
They couldn't get because they missed a 2-point conversion. They couldn't do the field goal.
But Joe, I think to your point, and thank you for the phone call. I think to your point, it's not just you could have given the ball to Pollard. I thought Dak was going to run it in because you had enough time there where you actually could have had Dak on a design run play.
Well,
would have been tough.
I just think with 25 seconds left, you're worried that he's going to get tackled inbounds. So that's why it was so hard because they took away the run. I think the Cowboys had to throw in that series. That's a must throw.
You're right.
That's what was so tricky about that series.
Well, but the other part is you got so lucky where you're basically down right in striking distance and you still have like 25 seconds left. So you have time for multiple shots at the end zone. No. And they just kept moving backwards and backwards and backwards.
And there was a play where he didn't throw to CD down there. That's obviously, the Eagles could not cover CD Lamb. So you try a fade. We all hate fades, but CD Lamb was the best player. Yeah, all right. They messed that up, but I still give Dak credit.
How about Tom in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania? Tom, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. How you guys doing today?
Phenomenal.
I'll just have a quick point to make. I mean, I'm just checking stuff before work on social media and everything. I'm getting kind of tired of half the world blaming everybody except for the Eagles for their wins. I mean, I see it with people blaming, they get all the calls with penalties. They get these teams blow it. It's like maybe the Eagles are just that good, and they're banged up, like Perloff said. I mean, they're not playing at 100% right now. I mean, I'm a Philly boy through and through. I know my opinions are a little bit biased.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Tom,
at the end of
there
the
are
day,
real teams that are, I get it that the Eagles are banged up, but there are real teams dealing with real injury concerns. Did you see half the league was playing backup quarterbacks yesterday or playing third-string quarterbacks? So forgive me if I can't say the Eagles being banged up is any kind of excuse for them. They don't need an excuse. They're 8-1, and they have the best record in the NFL. But
if Jalen Hurts is healthy, there's no Dak drive at the end. There's no nothing because that's a 3-touchdown game.
When Jalen Hurts was fully healthy, he wasn't running. So I don't know what more you want.
No. He hurt his knee really early in the season. He's being really coy about it, but he has not been himself all year long. I mean, he's not, except for the first 2 weeks, he's not really run the ball all season long.
Well,
this is not a new injury. This has been here a long time now.
I believe I'm old enough to remember maybe 2 weeks ago when the thought was that Jalen Hurts can't run the ball because all the money is weighing down his pockets. Was that
I was mistaken. It's
was that not the quote? I heard I believe it's all the gold is weighing down his pocket.
He was out in the open.
He took his salary in gold bars. We didn't know that.
I saw it early in the season. I just saw plays where I'm like, I don't understand why Dak didn't just run for 10 yards. So let me just give you quick numbers. He's averaging 3.6 yards per carry, down from 4.6 last year, 5.6 the year before. Something's wrong there.
Okay, but the problem is that nobody is going to be playing the world's smallest violin for you guys when you keep winning. So you keep winning, even in a game yesterday where you were trying to lose the game at the end, and you still end up winning. So I can't, and you have other teams, again, who have like real serious injuries.
Yeah, but
like lost their quarterback injuries.
Well, I know the team you guys are high on, but I'm telling you right now, that's a team that'll be injured. I could tease it. Your AFC favorite that you tease.
Yeah.
Talk about injuries. Yeah. They're 7-2, but they're 7-2 every year. Then they get hurt.
We'll get to that. Phil's in Pennsylvania as well. Hey, Phil. How you been, dude?
Hey, Maggie. Hey, Perloff. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. What's up?
The thing is, Dallas shouldn't even had the last two drives because Eagles play calling almost cost them the first game against Washington and almost this game against Dallas. What are you doing throwing deep to A.J. Brown against Washington with a minute and a half left when you could have just ran the ball for a first down?
Oh, yeah.
3rd and 3. I don't care if you have to brotherly shove twice. You will get 3 yards on that. You just keep on run, and push.
Yeah.
You drain out that 6 minutes, no problem, no stress, no 2 drives at the end of the game. It would just save everybody a whole bunch of stress if you just ran it down the throats, which is a weakness for Dallas, and just go to your strength.
Phil's right.
Phil, what about the Jets? The actual that lost them. The exact thing you're talking about cost them the game against the Jets.
No, but
they threw the interception late.
Phil, you're so right. We actually have Nick Sirianni defending that questionable 3rd and short play. Here's what he said.
Looked like AJ just didn't see the ball. They couldn't find the ball. And so, in those situations, Jeff, there's times where it's time to throw it short. There's times to throw it deep. You got to feel how the defensive backs are playing all games because, why not go to the sticks? Well, sometimes they squat at the sticks, right? And sometimes they grab at the sticks and all those different things. So it's time to go deep.
Yeah, but what about running the ball? Again, like to Phil's point, and Phil, thank you for the phone call. Good to hear from you, pal. The thing is, you have the most unstoppable play in football. So to not be able to get 3 yards in 2 plays, because you have 2 plays every time.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles' run game was terrible yesterday. They couldn't run it at all. The Cowboys completely stuffed DeAndre Swift. So they thought they'll probably lose yardage on that play. And you can't, can you tush push from the 3?
No, I'm saying you run the ball, then tush.
Yeah,
push.
I don't think they were getting a yard on a run play. They really got stuffed at the line of scrimmage almost every single play. Any must-run situation was a disaster.
So you basically needed 1.5 yards on one run play and then the tush push for another 1.5 yards.
I mean, DeAndre Swift averaged 2 yards a carry when they didn't know if he was going to run the ball. I am not sure the run game was really working. I would go to my MVP candidate, Jalen Hurts. I understand that.
Yeah.
And I am glad he brought up a good point. EJ mentioned to me last night, that's the play that you can throw an interception that costs the game right there. I'd rather you throw it out of bounds and throw it out that's going to get picked by Deron Bland. That guy's terrifying on the Cowboys.
Really good. 855-212-4CBS. So how did we word the poll question?
Well, I was waiting to get a official wording. So we want to do you blame Dak Prescott for the loss here? Is that what we're doing?
I think it's something more like, do you trust Dak Prescott in that spot? But we'll massage that as Andrew Bogish is here with some headlines. Good morning, Andrew Bogish.
Good morning, everybody. Those headlines sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Insurance, insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Joe Burrow and his Bengals are back.
Joe has the ball. Under pressure, dumps it off short, caught. Drew Sample has a first down to the 10, the 5, toward the pylon. He's in. Touchdown.
Beautiful.
Bengals, Drew Sample.
Dan Horde on Bengals Radio's second TD throw of the night for Burrow. It gave Cincy a 21-7 halftime lead on the Bills on Sunday Night Football. That became a 24-18 win when Cincy ran off the final 3+ minutes following a Josh Allen TD pass to Stephon Diggs. Burrow's club now on a 4-game win streak.
We're coming along. We're
we played well the last couple weeks. We just got to keep it going. We're going to keep getting better every day in practice. Keep talking through routes, keep talking through what we're trying to accomplish, and go from there.
The Bills, meanwhile, now 5-4, technically third in the AFC East this morning behind the Dolphins and Jets, who host the Chargers this evening. Allen picked off for a fifth consecutive game. Their only good news yesterday was those Dolphins losing to the Chiefs in Germany 21-14. Miami now 0-3 against teams with winning records. At the bottom of that AFC East, the 2-7 Patriots, 2017 losers at home to the Commanders. Mac Jones was trying to drive New England for the win, but forced to throw to Juju Smith-Schuster. The ball went off his hands and was intercepted. I think Mac is forgiving Juju here.
Obviously, when you lose the game, it's frustrating, and it's not on one person or one player at all. I think, like I said, Juju made some great plays, and we're all in it together, and I can throw a better ball, protect him a little bit more, and all that stuff.
This is the Pats. Yeah, I feel like you should get to the headline of it wasn't his fault sooner than all of that.
Also, Mac Jones is going to get people killed.
Yeah.
The way that he throws the ball, sometimes you feel like if I'm a receiver, I'm like, oh, I'm about to get my head taken off.
We call those hospital balls.
Yeah, and for Mac Jones, who's like not going to be the quarterback next year, we've won 2 games all season long. Do I really want to die today? I don't want to die today.
No.
2-7 is their worst start since year 1 under Bill Belichick way back in 2000. The Saints held off the Bears 24-17 with Taysom Hill throwing and catching a touchdown. The Browns solved rookie QB Clayton Tune, holding him and the Cardinals to 57 total yards in a 27-0 shutout in Cleveland. And the Packers snapped their 4-game skid 23 over the Rams, who did not have Matthew Stafford and that thumb injury. Brett Rippon turned the ball over twice.
Man, that looked different.
Yeah.
That looked real different.
It was odd. Yesterday, there were so many headline matchup games and then games that had zero intrigue.
The 1 o'clock
so
window.
Right.
The 1 o'clock window was terrible.
Although, weirdly, one of those games that you would think had zero quarterback intrigue was definitely C.J. Stroud versus Baker Mayfield. That may have been the game of the year.
Yeah. And Baltimore smoking Seattle took the headline game off the plate in the early afternoon.
It wasn't even a game.
How many backup quarterbacks were playing in the 1 o'clock window? It was definitely a majority of the quarterbacks.
I think it was 5 rookie quarterbacks starting throughout yesterday.
Wow.
Now, that counts Stroud and Young, who have been starting. Then you throw in Clayton Tune and Jaron Hall and Aiden O'Connell.
And Tyson Badgett.
And Tyson Badgett, so 6.
And Clayton Tune,
poor Clayton Tune.
What's his face? Jaron Hall did not last very long.
Right.
And that was obviously led to the best story of the weekend. Josh Dobbs,
Jaron Hall, by the way, looked pretty good when he was in there. So that is, what's happening? We're at week 9 and nobody's held. None of these quarterbacks are. Anyway, go ahead, Andrew.
And USC fired defensive coordinator Alex Grinch yesterday after their latest torching, 52 points from Washington. That loss leaving the Trojans unranked for the first time under Lincoln Riley. The Golden State Warriors' perfect start on the road ended last night in Cleveland.
Mitchell fires it to Garland. 6 on the shot clock. Garland on the right sideline. Off to Allen. Lob to Mobley. Pow! Oh, my goodness. Throw with the throw to Mo.
Okay, Tim Alcorn on Cavs Radio. Cleveland winning 115-104. First loss in 5 road games for the Dubs. Donovan Mitchell at the Cavs with 31 and 7 assists. The Grizzlies got their first win period, 112-100 in Portland, and the Mavs outscored the Hornets 124-118, 23 from Luka Doncic. The Miami Marlins reportedly hiring Rays GM Peter Bendix to run their baseball operations. The 38-year-old would replace Kim Ang, who left a few weeks ago when ownership wanted to hire somebody above her. Upsets in the MLS playoffs. Sporting KC gets a 2-game sweep of West number 1 St. Louis City 2-0, and LAFC upset Vancouver in 2 games 1-0 in Canada last night. And Ryan Blaney won his first NASCAR season title yesterday with a win at Phoenix Raceway. Back to you guys.
Andrew Bogish, thank you so much. Coming up, we do have the team to beat in the AFC. It is not the Chiefs. Hint, hint. We'll get to that in just moments. Also later, again, we mentioned Joshua Dobbs, the story of the weekend. We'll get to his heroics. What happened with the Raiders? Been an eventful week for that franchise, but aren't they all? Maggie and Perloff, so glad to have you on this Monday. Don't move. It's CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We'll get to the new team to beat in the AFC in just a moment. But the best story of the weekend, by far, has got to be Joshua Dobbs. Josh Dobbs has played on 5 different teams over the last 11 months. And this is, counted up, the 3rd time in his career when he's been brought into a team and then thrown into a position where he has to go try to win a game for a new team, Perloff, with having no idea who the other people in the huddle are, what any of the play calls are. Yesterday was particularly unique when he has to come in for Jaron Hall of the Vikings, who got knocked out with a concussion. And Dobbs had never taken a snap under center with the starting center, had never thrown a pass to any of the receivers, and they won the game.
And how they won it too. That the run that Dobbs had where he escaped the sack, that was unbelievable. I don't mean to be a party pooper, but I think people also underestimate how bad the Atlanta Falcons are too.
Fire everybody from the Falcons. Fire everybody. I'm not a coach killer. Fire everybody in the organization. You just lost to a guy who walked into the organization on Wednesday.
That's the thing. This has got to be the straw that broke the camel's back. The ownership has to look at this game and say, that dude doesn't even know the playbook, and he just beat us. You look at by the way, Atlanta's last. They lost to Tennessee, Washington, and they played Tampa Bay almost to a draw. They might be one of the worst 5 teams in the league. So I think they proved it yesterday. Here's my question for the Vikings. Look at the standings. All of a sudden, this is on. Could Josh Dobbs was really good with Arizona. They just lost every game late.
Yep.
I'm wondering, is this Josh Dobbs story going to continue? What happens after he comes in and he plays these miracle games?
I think he only gets better when he actually gets to learn the playbook a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, Arizona, they were a very spry team. Listen, they beat the Cowboys. That's a signature win for them earlier this season. But they also don't have a lot of talent. Minnesota does have a little bit of talent.
Well, now the question is, will they get Justin Jefferson back? That's still TBD. You put Justin Jefferson with Josh Dobbs, watch out. I'm talking.
This is the new connection
Who
here.
thought that a couple weeks ago?
Listen, one of the greatest plays in the history of the Minnesota Vikings is Case Keenum to Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
It can be a backup quarterback and a great receiver making plays.
I thought you were going to say when Justin Jefferson reached out of nowhere to grab that ball against your Bills last year. Remember that play?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
So Jordan Addison had the same play yesterday.
Yeah.
Jordan Addison's a mini Justin Jefferson. You put Josh Dobbs with those two guys, I think this team is kind of interesting now.
Josh Dobbs said this should be a movie, but no one would believe it. And just that him being an aerospace engineer and all that stuff kind of just adds to the intrigue. We love talking about, Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard, all these smart quarterbacks. This is the really smart stuff, which is you have the recall and the memory to try to learn 10 plays or whatever he had in the playbook. First, let's start here. This is what it sounded like if you're wondering what a feel-good story this is. This is what it sounded like after the game in the Minnesota locker room.
In addition to everybody getting one in here, he deserves to keep the actual one he played with, Josh Dobbs.
As they say, it's a team win. I couldn't have done it without teammates, offense, defense, special team, coaches. Shoot, Grant spending 5 extra hours with me on Friday going through walkthroughs. And I'm thankful to be here. I'm excited, man. We'll enjoy this one. But as they all say, cheers to the next ones.
When he's I want to thank my teammates and the coaches, you guys, I don't know your names. You there. I want to thank you, and especially you, whatever your name is. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you gotta credit Grant for the big game yesterday. I just googled
the film room.
I just googled Vikings Grant, and I got Bud Grant, the Hall of Fame coach. So
from the beyond, Bud Grant was.
Is Grant a coach? Grant must be a coach, right? Or are we missing an obvious player here?
Here is Josh Dobbs saying learning the Vikings offense was like learning a new language.
It's like if you were taking Spanish all year, and you showed up. And Wednesday, someone told you you're taking AP Spanish, and someone told you have an AP French exam on Sunday, and you gotta go execute. Someone's gonna talk to you in Spanish and translate it to the French. So that's kind of what was going on out there. There was a lot of communication.
Man, how did Josh Dobbs just nail every anxiety dream I've ever had in my life? Take an AP Spanish all year, show up on Wednesday, you got to take AP French.
Hola, parlez-vous français?
And in my dream, Kevin O'Connell's never there to translate for me. It's always just your SOL until you wake up in a cold sweat.
Some
version of that dream over and over again.
Or you show up right as the test is ending. I have that one all the time.
Oh, that's interesting. No, this is the broadcaster translated that, and talking about your dreams is so annoying. Mine is that I have to go cover an event that I don't. It's like, you've got to cover this UFC fight in Saudi Arabia. It's like, I'm not even in Saudi Arabia. How am I going to get there? Number one.
For whatever reason, I have these dreams that I have to show up to places and I just don't have clothes. Like, I don't have clothes on. I don't have clothes on, in a bag or anything, and I have no choice. But I have to show up there. If I don't show up
totally naked.
Yeah, well, usually I have, underwear on, which that makes it even more weird. It's like, I have some clothes, but not enough to, be presentable.
Like, I guess I can just show up in these underwear.
But... Sorry.
Yeah?
I found who Grant was.
Who is it?
I looked through the entire Vikings coaching staff and did not find him. Finally got down to the end. Assistant quarterback's chief of special projects, Grant Udinsky.
The real MVP.
Anybody heard of him?
No, but I'm sure he'll probably be coach of the Raiders next year.
Yeah, they have Mike Smith. They have a ton of Keenan McCardell's on the staff. Why they went to Grant, I have no idea.
No one else wanted to sit around for 5 hours on a Friday.
And they have a coach. Their assistant inside linebacker coach is named Thad Bogardus. Why not go to Thad?
Well, maybe next time. The fact that this was more from Josh Dobbs from NFL Films, that he told the coaches of the play calls that he could actually run on the play sheet.
I told the coaches, I said, they were asking me, my comfort level with everything in the playbook and how I felt before the game leading up if something were to happen. I said, anything on this call sheet that we installed this week, I got it. Like, I can run it, I got it, whether it's no huddle, whether it's tempo, whether it's a game plan call, whatever it is, I got it. Now you start pulling stuff from OTA 1 and 2, I might be a little handcuffed out there, but if you put it on the call sheet, I got it.
You'd have to be sadistic to be like, here's something we ran in August, but we're going to throw it in. No, listen, this is a guy who's clearly sharp, and I love that apparently the coaches told him, hey, you can't get hurt because we don't have another quarterback behind you. And unfortunately, Cam Akers ends up tearing his Achilles possibly again for the second time yesterday. But who was the emergency 3 quarterback? I think it was Cam Akers.
Oh, boy. So at that point, you just run, wildcat every play. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm dying to see this team going forward. To my credit, I am a lifelong Josh Dobbs fan. I've always loved this dude.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Smart people unite.
My good friend, quarterback coach Quincy Avery, Josh Dobbs was his first client, discovered each other out of nowhere. Then Quincy's career took off and Josh's career. Josh was supposed to play baseball in high school. No one thought he was going to be a football player, and he's a genius. He's the most odd story of all time.
It's up there, depending how far they go. Like, this is up there with the, not Kurt Warner yet. That's on a whole other level, but it's right there with Purdy. Potentially. It could be neck and neck with Purdy. It's different, obviously. Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant, then they go to 8-0, the end of the season. But Dobbs just keeps showing up. We said last night, Dobbs should be like the community quarterback at the trade deadline.
Steady quarterback in a flag football game. Well, you had an interesting analogy. You were out of your comfort zone, but you called him Batman. And I was wondering, EJ, you're a superhero guy. Is he like Batman, where he dives into a random situation? Is that Batman-ish?
No, you throw up the signal, and he shows up. Like, who needs Josh Dobbs? Vikings needed him. You throw up the bat signal, Dobbs is there. He's taking on the Joker.
To some degree, look, Josh Dobbs, good player, but, not someone I consider superhuman. So I kind of understand. Maybe, okay, he doesn't have powers. Batman, though, may be the greatest hero of his era. So I don't know if I'd put Josh Dobbs there.
No, but how did Batman defeat his foes? He had,
utility belt.
He had all of his, the utility belt full of stuff, the Batmobile, and then his smarts and the money.
I almost feel like he's more like I consider him the Atom. The Atom was an engineer, was a scientist. He can grow small, he can go into places. Like, to me, if I had to think of somebody for Josh Dobbs, I'd call him the Atom.
I can't go too deep on the superhero
you definitely
depth
lost
chart.
Maggie on that one.
It's Batman to me. The team that's better than the Chiefs. Look out. I'll tell you who it is next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She can put away a large pizza by herself. He's allergic to cheese. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show. The best team in the AFC. It is not the Chiefs, Perloff. It is not the Cincinnati Bengals, two teams that won yesterday. It is the Baltimore Ravens. They are the best team in the AFC right now, and this is amazing to watch Baltimore because they were going to change the offense because obviously Lamar was running way too much and he was getting injured. They have changed the offense. They have a plus 115 point differential. This is the biggest in football by far, and they haven't even solved the biggest issue yet, which is the turnovers. They still are turning the ball over with 2 fumbles yesterday, one by Lamar, one by Odell. But this defense has always been awesome. They are number one in scoring defense. They're holding opponents to around 13 points a game. But everyone knows that about the Ravens defense. They show up year after year after year. What's different now is this offense does have the explosive plays that we were looking for, and Lamar doesn't have to run on every down.
Yeah, first of all, Lamar, for some reason, did run a lot yesterday. I didn't totally understand why he did that in a blowout. Haven't we seen this movie before? The Ravens 7-2. I feel like they're 7-2 pretty much every single year under Lamar Jackson. And then the injuries start to pile up. Not always Lamar, but often Lamar. Lamar gets hurt. You know Beckham's going to get hurt. You know the running backs are going to get hurt. By definition, a Ravens running back is an imperiled species. So
it is. That's a tough spot to be in.
I just feel like we bought this hype before. The other thing, they have a crazy schedule. So they probably need to get home field to be better than the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs in KC are going to be favored against the Ravens. So I will agree with you. Right now, they're playing the best football in the NFL. But that doesn't mean anything to me because we've seen them do this before and not translate. They haven't been able to stay on the field throughout the season and then translate in the postseason. And I'm not sure why this team is any different. I know that there's more passing offense right now, but it sure seems like the Baltimore Ravens team I've seen in the last 5 years. Great defense. Lamar Jackson, hot during the regular season. What is different for the playoffs?
Well, I do think that the offense does look different. So even if, it used to be, Lamar, you can just sort of bottle him up, and if he can't run, then you're not going to be able to win a playoff game. I don't know if that's the same way. Now, the other part, too, is I love having that Ravens defense in the playoffs. Like, they had Snoop Huntley last year against the Cincinnati Bengals, and they almost won that game. So they have Cleveland and Cincinnati both at home over the next 2 weeks. Then you go at the Chargers. Then you got the Rams, 4 tough ones to end the season. At Jacksonville, at San Francisco, Miami, and Pittsburgh. You knew it wasn't going to be easy, though, but I love this Ravens team because the offense looks great. The defense has always been awesome, and you basically have the best kicker in the history of the NFL. So the 3 phases situation is what I think has to set them apart. Here's the thing about the Chiefs. The Chiefs are still great, but is the offense great?
No.
Not even by a long shot. You have the best quarterback maybe of this generation for sure, and they can't score in the second half against Miami. They scored 9 points last week against Denver. Apparently, there was according to Peter King, Football Morning in America, 17-minute, because Peter's always very precise on the time, 17-minute closed-door meeting between Andy Reid and Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator, after the game yesterday, and you could understand why. I mean, the Dolphins were a couple screw-ups and failed botched snaps, basically, away from really putting a scare into tying that game.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming off the loss of the Broncos. But to me, what happens in Germany stays in Germany. That's the amazing thing. And it's the same thing for the Eagles. We're at the point where we're ripping the Chiefs for a win over the second best team in the AFC, the Dolphins. They won the football game. They're finding ways to win.
Well, they scored 14 points this week. The defense chipped in a touchdown, and then they scored 9 points the week before.
I know, and Mahomes was sick the week before. Great teams find ways to win. I think, in a way, this is an incredible testament to the Chiefs that they can win with defense. When did you see that coming? If you've given this defense to the last 3 years' teams, they would have gone undefeated. So I do think it's very interesting that they're evolving a little bit as a team. There's just a fact. They're in the AFC West, Maggie. You and I could come out of the AFC West. They're gonna stack up wins against the Broncos, the Raiders, and probably the Chargers, where this Ravens schedule, you read it as if it wasn't a problem.
No, it is a problem.
And also, what is the Ravens win where we're just so sure that they're the elite team in the AFC? Have we seen that win? I'm not sure. Yes, they're crushing these NFC teams that come to Baltimore. But Detroit completely mailed in that game against. I think the team.
I think they got beat.
I don't know.
Think they were mailing it in.
I think they were looking ahead. I think they didn't play all their guys. I don't think Detroit cared about that game at all. And then Seattle, did Seattle look like that was an urgent game to them at all?
Okay.
1:00 Eastern game, which was the NFL screwed them on that. I don't understand. I just think, they can kill NFC teams in Baltimore. Are they going to beat the elite AFC teams on the road?
Okay, but it's not just like the NFC teams who are bottom feeders in the league. You're talking about two teams that came in as leaders of their division. Seattle and Detroit were two division leaders, and they came in and it wasn't even close. It's not like, and they won a tight game from wire to wire, just full throttle. And to be honest, I think the Ravens, they definitely should have beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. They had like 7 drops in that game. So, listen, a little revisionist, but
they beat Joe Burrow in Cincinnati early in the season, but that wasn't the real Joe Burrow. And I think if you had a healthy Joe Burrow, Cincinnati wins that game in Cincinnati, and Baltimore could probably beat them. But there's a lot. The real tests have not even begun for Baltimore. They're going against a murderer's row of defense.
Okay, but here's a question, too. I know that obviously we have to respect the Chiefs, and I do respect the Chiefs based on their quarterback, coach, their defense is awesome, and what they've done. Who have they played? They got the win at Jacksonville. That's a good one. Then they play Chicago. No offense, EJ, your Jets, Minnesota, Denver, Chargers lose to Denver. And this was the one in Miami. And Miami, obviously, had so many penalties in this game. They were always behind the sticks. I mean, Miami has to prove that they can beat a good team. Like, who's Kansas City? Where's their signature win?
I'll tell you, there's 2 of them. One was over San Francisco, and one was over the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a team that has shown
it has history.
Championship. It's called pedigree.
Yes.
Championship pedigree. What's the Ravens' big win? It was Joe Flacco, a quarterback in 2012.
It's on a heater.
I do think, I know that it sounds silly, but this Ravens team is awesome. I mean, the Todd Monken offense, they're learning it. It looks great. Lamar Jackson is obviously a strong MVP candidate. I just feel like I've seen this movie. I want to see them stay healthy and do this in January because we're a long way from January.
Okay, we are a long way from January, but I also don't think we've seen this offense maybe as good as it can be. And like you said, they basically spent the first month of the season kind of learning a new offense on the fly. Now you're seeing it maybe, get to a certain point, doesn't have even a next level to get to before the weather gets really bad. So I feel good. Now, maybe the Bengal fan wants to chime in here because they've also won 4 in a row. Maybe Burrow looks amazing. The defense is just so good. Like, they're saying the record is Joe Burrow's 5-1 against Mahomes and Allen. It's Lou Anarumo as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He's 5-1 against Mahomes and Allen. This guy is just on another level when it comes to stopping really great
Be careful,
quarterbacks.
Maggie.
What?
Don't say anything ill about Joe Burrow. We have a show rule. It does sound like you were saying this is Lou Anarumo is doing it, not Joe Burrow.
I'm saying
the man is magical. Just accept that fact.
They have the formula, which is Burrow gets them out to 2-touchdown lead, and then the defense kind of does the rest.
Wait, can I take one step back to Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, go
okay,
ahead.
I did not watch a lot of yesterday's game. I was on the road. It was 37-3. I don't think anybody watched a lot because it was out of control.
It wasn't a game.
So Lamar Jackson carried the ball 10 times for 60 yards in this game, and he only had 187 passing yards. I noticed Lamar is holding on to the ball. Like, it's not coming out quick in the sense that he's looking for plays all over the place. That is what keeps getting him in trouble. That's why he keeps getting hurt. He takes hits. Why are you taking any hits in a 37-3 game? I don't understand. Just hand the ball off, hand the ball off, hand the ball off. They eventually did that. But that's what worries me about Baltimore. They seem to be dependent on, all right, Lamar, go out there and be Superman. And he's succeeding. He is Superman.
Well,
but it can't last all season. They were supposed to evolve this year.
Yeah, but I think you got to give a little bit of credit there to the Seahawks front, which I know you can't really give credit to the Seahawks anything yesterday because they got demolished. But you're going to have to be able to stand in and make some throws if you want to be able to keep the run game honest. It's like you can't. We say this about Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. Like, you have to Tua. You've got to sit in there at some point and take a couple hits if you do want the run game to have any identity.
No, you're absolutely right about that. But I thought this year we were going to protect Lamar Jackson, and if he's running 10 times on a 37-3 win, that doesn't sound like protection to me.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. The best team in the AFC. See, again, yes, you can lean on the Chiefs and say, oh, we've seen it before, we've seen it. Look at the Chiefs' offense when they can't get Kelsey the ball. Woof. Who does Mahomes even trust on that offense?
Okay. It's been a bad 2 weeks. We've seen the Chiefs fix these kind of problems before. If Patrick Mahomes is fully healthy at the end of the year, I want to do a show bet because I think these two teams are meeting maybe in the conference title game. And depending on where it is, I'm going pedigree, and I still think the Chiefs are the team to beat. The fact that they can win ugly, this is a revelation for the Chiefs. How Miami didn't know Steve Spagnuolo, their defense coordinator, likes to blitz on every play, I don't quite understand that.
Yeah.
But I think this is maybe the more well-rounded Chiefs team. I mean, a win is a win here too, right? They did beat Miami.
Listen,
was second in the AFC in Super Bowl odds.
Miami's the team that has more questions to answer. We knew this was going to happen because we knew that if Miami was going to lose, we'd say, oh, well, they haven't beaten anybody. But to be honest, until that funky play that happens right before the end of the half where Tyreek Hill, of all people, gets the ball stripped away from him, and then the defensive player for the Chiefs has the heads-upness to pitch the ball in a lateral to his teammate, and then the dude takes off and just scores. I mean, that was a funky, weird play that I think almost the game kind of turned there. Like, the Dolphins did have a chance at the end of the game, and Tua could not get the ball out.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs have had trouble putting away leads. Remember week 1 against Detroit? They had the game in hand, and for some reason, they can't run out the clock right now.
And they lost that game.
Yeah, they were a lot of 3-and-outs in the second half. I'm not quite sure why that's happening, but I think it's because you're right. There's only one guy to throw to, Kelsey. They don't trust the receivers enough. I still think counting that team out is a dangerous mistake. They're coming off. They're going to have a bye.
Yep.
And then they play the Eagles in a rematch of the Super Bowl. Would be a great game, but
Monday night game.
Andy Reid's never, ever lost off a bye, so they'll probably win that game. We'll all be back on their bandwagon.
I'm not off the bandwagon. I'm just saying I think the Ravens are the best team in the AFC. They're the most balanced team. They're the all three phases. So here's another thing we learned. You're welcome to call in, by the way, 855-212-4CBS, because I have a feeling some Bengal fans might want to have a say about that. And Dolphins fans, maybe. Tough after that loss yesterday. I did not know that the greatest export that we have in this country is John Denver. That's the crowd in Germany yesterday. Now listen, maybe it's a stadium that's just full of 45,000 expats. But I think this is the song, Perloff, that got out to the rest of the world.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but it's a top 10 all-time song. It's such an amazing song. I love John Denver. Oh, it is. I mean, obviously, there are also college football fan bases that pay it all the time, but I think it's worth it. John Denver is so underrated historically. I love that song.
Listen, it's a good stadium song. The words are easy. It's got a nice, sweet kind of sentiment.
You don't like Sweet Caroline either.
I don't like Sweet Caroline at all. But
I think you're in a small minority, especially on Country Road. I've never heard anyone say they don't love Country Road.
I just am surprised that of all the things that would have gotten out to these stadiums, it's John Denver's Country Road. And I got to be honest, I was once got an amazing opportunity to go to Thailand, and they were singing Country Roads in Thailand. How is this the one that made it all the way across the world?
Well, I think when people think of America, they think cowboys, right? Western and all that. What would be another American kind of song?
Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe a country standard, a different country standard?
Maybe.
Sure.
all the rock songs we stole from England, so right. Which they stole from us. They stole it from
thing?
They stole the blues and they made it, the English thing. I don't know. It makes sense. Like America, cowboy hat, country roads. That's what we are.
Is that what people think of us as? I'm sure.
100%.
We are. I was just a little surprised. John Denver, of all things. EJ, do you know this song?
I know the song, but when you told me John Denver Country Roads, I didn't know what you were talking about.
Didn't get the first time?
No. This song I've heard a million times, and it is a great song.
It's a good stadium song, too. She hates Sweet Caroline. There's a new beer ad out that plays all the time where they're in a bar singing Sweet Caroline. I don't understand that. That is, what's the hate about Sweet Caroline?
You have been to Fenway Park in 7th inning? It's amazing.
I've been to Fenway. I don't like Sweet Caroline. I don't like Don't Stop Believin'. So it's not just like an anti-Boston thing.
That is,
all baseball anthems you don't like.
Yeah, I don't like any of them.
Don't Stop Believin'. That piano comes on, you don't get fired up? Are you crazy?
No, because it got so oversaturated.
What do you want to play in a stadium? Okay, you probably like Thunderstruck. Everybody likes it.
Yeah, Thunderstruck I like.
That's a home
you
run.
Give me a little jump around. I'll do a little of that. House of Pain.
Yeah, I
Wisconsin.
like that. Yeah.
It's not that I'm not anti-anthem. I just, the Sopranos kind of ruined the Don't Stop Believin'. It became so over the top. It was like My Heart Will Go On from Titanic. They just played it until you just wanted to throw your phone through the TV.
Yeah, there's an expression, what happened to the anthems of my youth? I think the great American anthems are from 40 years ago. What's a new anthem? What's a new song? Is Taylor Swift? I can't even think.
All I do is win, no matter what.
Is that an anthem?
I think so.
They play it after every team wins a game or wins a championship. It plays all the time.
I was thinking about this the other day. Because they were playing it obviously after the Texas Rangers won the World Series. When Queen wrote "We Are the Champions," who was that for? Can we do a little Google internet research on this? Who did Queen write "We Are the Champions" for? I have no idea. What's the origin of that
song?
Like
a soccer team or some English thing?
I'm not sure. I've never knew. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Yeah, I don't know who was the inspiration for this.
Let's Google it up.
I mean, I watched that horrible movie about Queen.
Did
biopic
get nominated for an
win
Oscar?
the Revolutionary War, so I don't know.
It was an awful movie. That was a terrible movie.
Okay.
But I digress.
It was only very well critically received, and I think got some Oscar nominations.
Not in my house. 855-212-4CBS. Best team in the AFC. I think it's the Baltimore Ravens. What do you think? Perloff, you're still sticking with the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah. You say that like still sticking with them. They won the game.
They did win, but Baltimore looks like the best team right now. They're the best team.
We'll see. They have some tough defensive players coming up against them. We'll see what Myles Garrett has to say about the new offense.
So real quickly, Freddie Mercury, talking about writing the song "We Are the Champions," said, quote, he said, "I was thinking about football, meaning soccer, when I wrote it. I wanted a participation song, something that the fans could latch onto. Of course, I've given it a more theatrical subtlety than ordinary football chant." So it seems like there wasn't a team he was thinking about. It just he wanted an anthem for a soccer game.
Honestly, it's a brilliant commercial move, because they're going to be playing this now to the end of time.
He saw a market need and decided to fill it.
It was like, here's a little inefficiency here. There's not like one big thing that we can play after anyone wins a title. They kept it generic enough that it could be for every sport. Brilliant move.
By the way, Sports Illustrated did a ranking of the top stadium anthems, and number one was "We Will Rock You."
Oh.
Yeah, the other Queen song.
Yeah.
By the way, All I Do Is Win was number 2. So
it was?
Perloff,
Okay.
yes.
Sorry.
Give me some love.
I mean, honestly, there's only one song that plays in Philly.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Do we have that sound ready?
Yeah, you can just keep worshiping.
Play any. First of all, you could go Rocky 3, you could go Rocky 1, Rocky 2,
worshiping this
Rocky 4.
character.
Well, we gotta make sure we get the songs right, because last time we talked about Rocky, we apparently didn't know one song wasn't the Rocky song; it was something else.
Well, it's funny. I texted Maggie. They played both those songs. So yeah, there's a Rocky song we all know. Then there's the other Rocky song we all know. They sort of alternate them throughout the game.
Oh man!
But the Eagles were ahead, so they didn't need to pull out "Just Win, Baby." Just Win. Bum 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 bum. Carlos, you better find that soon, or I'm gonna definitely keep singing here.
Let's
bum 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 bum.
Definitely.
Banana.
Please save us. People are trying to get to work right
now.
I'm just letting them sing it.
No, Carlos, save us.
This is what happens when Dak Prescott can't execute down the stretch. All you have to do, 5 yards away, make a play, don't get a false start, and then don't take a sack. And then we wouldn't have
We'd
Andrew
be subjected
Perloff
to
singing.
this.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to deal with this. But thanks, Dak.
I know.
You couldn't come through again.
This is why you have to go vote on our poll at Maggie and Pearl on Twitter. EJ, what's the final wording?
Right, so the final wording on this, we were kind of going back and forth. We ended up landing on, will Dak Prescott ever come through in the clutch?
Yeah, I need. You guys kind of had to soften that poll because you guys know Dak was fire yesterday. He was unbelievable. He was unbelievable.
He was unbelievable until
What
the
happened
last
to the
three
last
plays of the game.
Yeah, the last.
First of all, he didn't do the false start. It was one of the linemen, right?
Yes.
Lineman is on him. Is not on him, but the sack and the delayed game are on him.
Yep.
That's on him.
855-212-4CBS. Welcome to call in.
You go into a hostile environment with no timeout and the Eagles pass rush coming out. Let's see what you do, EJ. That's what I say.
It's not about me. It's about Dak. Okay? It's about him coming through in the clutch.
Listen, you're trying to call a play, and this song comes out, and 80,000 people are screaming for your head. You get it. You get the playoff before delay a game. Let's see you do that. This is a hard situation.
And it's funny, too, because it's not like Dak hasn't been playing in this league for almost a decade. And how many games in Philadelphia? Dude, if anyone knows what's coming, it's this guy.
He said he loves playing there. Yeah. They asked him before. We played this out on Friday. Oh, he said, I love it. It's like the SEC. This is what it's all about. All right, well, this is what it's all about. Show up.
Show up. He had 344 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He was unbelievable. He showed up in a huge way yesterday.
And what happened at the end?
One touchdown too short.
That's true.
Yes, against the defending NFC champions on the road. That game's in Dallas. They win that. I can't believe people are going after Dak now. And it's not just you guys. A lot of people are like, Dak blew it again. The only reason they were in that game was Dak.
Win the game. 855-212-4CBS. You're not going to keep getting these chances all the time. 855-212-4227. Coming up, big win for the Raiders, but is it fool's gold? We'll get to that. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free. Sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Now, this is an anthem in the background here. Is this Funky Cold Medina? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know it's me because I'm older, but I feel like in the 80s when a hit song came out, it was just played everywhere for years and years and years and years. And now there's just too many songs and too many different people. But we're arguing about where the anthem...
Wait, it's not Funky Cold Medina, it's Wild Thing.
Oh, it's Wild Thing.
Yeah.
What's it?
Like Tone Loc. He also did Funky Cold Medina. Perloff cannot keep these songs straight. You can't keep your Rocky song straight. Now you can't keep your Tone Loc song straight.
Wild Thing and Funky Cold Medina are two different songs?
Yes.
I mean, they can't be that different, as I recall the Tone Loc over.
They are two different.
How's Funky Cold Medina? All right, we got to play the difference here. I think they're quite similar. I don't think that's not an egregious mistake by any means.
It's just so funny because the lyrics are Wild Thing, and you're like, and Funky Cold Medina. It's like, no, this is Wild Thing.
I just imagine Perloff being like Michael Scott in that episode where they're doing a CPR class, and she's like, you you do the CPR to staying alive, and he's like, okay, first I was afraid. I was petrified. It's like, that's not the song.
Yeah. That is so Perloff.
What song is that?
I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor.
Right.
And what was the first song that he was supposed to sing?
The Bee Gees.
Staying alive. See, I couldn't. I'm like, you just did Staying Alive. What are you talking about?
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Perloff is like, some people are like face blind where they just can't recognize someone's face. Perloff is like song blind.
Okay, if you took the words out of both Wild Thing and Funky Cold Medina, there is a 2% difference.
That's not the argument. The argument is, are they two different songs, and have we known that since the mid-80s?
Well, you were ripping me for mistaking before any lyrics came on, because I thought that was Funky Cold Medina.
Well, also, you can't keep the Rocky song straight. And
nobody
that's
can.
Your Philadelphia fandom.
You didn't even know there were two Rocky songs.
I'm not supposed to. I don't worship a fictional character like your city does.
Valid point.
855-212-4CBS. 855
Is he really fictional, Maggie? Is he really?
4227. Okay, I think that the entire NFL world kind of did, just sports in general, did a collective gasp when we heard this report yesterday from Jay Glazer about what actually went down with the Raiders.
He finishes up that speech. Everybody thinks they're great, except for Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels then goes over to him and says, don't ever talk about the Patriots like that. And then you really saw how divided that building got. That got up to Mark Davis, and I think Mark Davis looked at it and go, okay, I'm going to choose the guy who believes that we can win every single week, and that's what his plan's going to be. And by the way, this is...
Okay, so this was Josh McDaniels, who apparently the Raiders had a big, cathartic, get everything out on the table meeting the other day. And the players kind of ripped into Josh McDaniels. And Josh McDaniels, I think, took the criticism, but then had Antonio Pierce address the team and say something motivational. So Antonio Pierce says, listen, I was on the 2007 Giants. Nobody thought we were going to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Nobody thought we were a Super Bowl team. They were 9-7. They were kind of an afterthought. And look at what we were able to do. We went in and beat the undefeated Patriots and kept them from the perfect season. And Josh McDaniels had such a huge problem with that because his Patriots DNA, Perloff, is so deep that it overrides his Raiders DNA. And that is a shocking thing to hear when you're the head coach of this franchise. You got to be all in on that franchise.
Of course. But this franchise, one thing I will say, everyone's blaming Josh McDaniels. There is some organizational dysfunction here. It's not like the coach before was any better or the coach after is going to be any better or the two coaches before. This is a crazy franchise, right? Like if there was ever going to be a team that have this kind of stuff happen, how Mark Davis became such a sympathetic character in this story is a little strange to me.
I don't think he is.
And I love this Antonio Pierce interim coach bump. Who was on quarterback at the end of the game for the Giants yesterday?
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito Waste Management.
Yeah. So
business
I think everything,
Jersey.
this is, oh my gosh, look how terrible. I think it helped that they blew out the Giants so you could even really emphasize how terrible Josh McDaniels was. But the whole team is kind of a joke, right?
Well, here's the thing.
Or is it McDaniels?
I think McDaniels, how this guy actually got a second shot, a third shot. He was the head coach of the Broncos. He did get hired by the Indianapolis Colts and then left them at the altar, about face, went back to New England. And I think he went back to New England, and the whole thing was Bill Belichick was going to open up his world to Josh McDaniels, and he was going to be the heir apparent. And obviously, that's not happening because McDaniels ends up taking the Raider job. And I think Mark Davis is not a sympathetic figure because he made the mistake that franchises have been making over and over and over again, which is getting a guy from New England means all of a sudden you're going to be New England Patriots West.
Exactly.
And it's so dumb. And the fact that Mark Davis doesn't know that, he absolutely deserves credit. And the thing is about Antonio Pierce, he might be a good coach. He might not. We don't know yet. But that could have been a mop, could have been coaching that game. And they were going to blow out the Giants, A, because the Giants suck, but B, because it wasn't McDaniels.
Yeah.
Like you had the report last week that, guys, this was the happiest locker room reporters had ever seen. They were smoking cigars after the game. Like you just won the Super Bowl. They just wanted McDaniels out. Honestly, the three of us, five of us, Bogus here, the five of us could have collectively coached that Raider team to a double-digit win on Sunday. That to me was not an Antonio Pierce.
I'll tell you one thing. Josh McDaniels will probably be another head coach again. I know that's...
if he's another head coach, I mean,
I'll tell you
a lot
where.
of lawsuits should be coming up.
I don't know. He could succeed Belichick there. He's going to go back to New England. The dude made Mac Jones a Pro Bowler. So people are going to see something. Here's why. Because I think everyone says, okay, I know what we're talking about now. I think people view the Raiders as the problem. I think the NFL views, oh, man, well, he was in Vegas. Who knows what's happening there.
Ooh.
But he took over a team that was coached by Rich Bisaccia, who's a special teams coordinator.
They won
who
10
had
games.
never been a head coach. They went 8-5 to finish that season. That was a season that you want to talk about Raider turmoil. That makes this look like, child's play.
Yeah.
What they were dealing with John Gruden and all the stuff that happened. And they go 8-5.
And Henry
They
Ruggs.
go to the playoffs. Yes, Henry Ruggs. I forgot about him too. They go to the playoffs. They compete with the team that eventually ended up going to the AFC, the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl, yeah.
Like that team did have some success. And then Josh McDaniels shows up and he burns the house down.
Do you know how many playoff games the Raiders have had in the last 20 years? Two.
Yeah.
So
one happened right before Josh McDaniels got hired.
I know.
He took over a playoff team.
But I know, but that was sort of a little fluky. I think Josh McDaniels, I totally agree with you guys, but I don't think the NFL is going to kill. It's definitely going to be an OC. You guys will give me that. And watch him turn some other young Patriots rookie quarterback into a Pro Bowler, and then people are going to sniff around him again because people never learn about the Belichick thing. They never learn.
They won't. The teams keep making the same mistake about the Belichick stuff and his coaching tree or whatever, but Josh McDaniels, I think the reason why he left is because he knows, or maybe it was messaged to him that Gerard Mayo's getting that job, or someone else is getting that job, not him.
Well, he definitely is going to be the offensive coordinator there at some point soon, right? He keeps falling back into that, even if it's Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, but is Belichick even going to be there next year?
Well, that's
isn't Bill O'Brien the OC?
Yeah, but so McDaniels hired O'Brien. O'Brien will hire McDaniels to be the quarterback coach. They'll bring in a rookie and watch him be good again. Because McDaniels just seems to be getting lucky with these young quarterbacks.
I'm trying to think, though. People keep hiring Belichick assistants, but how many of those guys got a second job other than McDaniels? Like, we didn't go back to Charlie Weiss. Romeo Crennel was an
Eric
interim.
Mangini got a second job. He was the
O'Brien
Browns
might get a second
coach.
job sometime, too.
Yeah, but O'Brien was the best of the bunch
Yeah.
to begin with.
He won playoff games
Right.
at least.
His problem was being the GM. When he was just the coach, he was fine.
Right, and it was a
Houston.
college job too, right? He didn't have 2 NFL jobs. It was just
He
Texas.
got 1 college and 1 NFL.
Right.
I'm just thinking.
Josh McDaniels
I bet
technically has gotten 3 guys. Let's not forget.
I think Bill O'Brien could get a job again. I could see that happening. He's not that old.
Yeah,
and
no,
McDaniels is a young man, too.
I know, but I think he's out. I think
he's out, too.
As dumb as owners are, they see all of this and they know this is not. They might hire him to run their offense, but they're not going to make him their head
But
coach.
if you run an offense, you have a great chance. I mean, that's all you need. OCs get jobs now.
Yeah, but
I'm talking
to get a third
20
job?
years of
But
NFL.
he's run great off. He can't run a better offense than that undefeated Patriots team. Like he's not like how many more?
Well,
good
I think that
offenses
Mac
can
Jones.
he
I
run?
think that he made Mac Jones into a Pro Bowler is the great miracle of his career. That was him, right? He was there with Mac.
Yeah, he was there with Mac's rookie year.
Yeah, but was Mac like a replacement Pro Bowler?
Yeah, he wasn't a real Pro
Also,
Bowler.
did they win because of their offense? No, like they.
That's why
there's one game they didn't even throw the ball. They beat Buffalo.
I know. 3 passes. Won the game.
I'm well aware. Listen, I'm not a fan of Mac Jones or of Josh McDaniels or the Patriots assistants. I'm just saying, the NFL, it's a long career ahead of Josh McDaniels.
I think that's a poll. Will Josh McDaniels get another head coaching job? If I could vote twice on that poll, I'd vote no twice.
How old do you think he is?
No button on Twitter.
Bogush is here with headlines. Good morning.
Good morning again. As we mentioned last hour, we had Chiefs, Dolphins, Seahawks, Ravens, Eagles, Cowboys, Bengals, Bills, and Texans, Bucks might have been the best game of yesterday.
TJ looking, throwing to the end zone. Touchdown! Houston takes the lead! Adele with the reception! Rock and roll! My goodness!
Samesies, Mark Vandermeer, Texans Radio.
Ride those levels, guys. Jeez.
CJ Stroud, the game-winning throw to Tank Dell with 6 seconds left. 40 seconds before that, Tampa Bay took the lead in a Baker Mayfield, Cade Otton connection. Houston finally wins the thriller 39-37 with Stroud throwing for 5 touchdowns and a single-game rookie record 470 yards. DeMeco Ryans loves his QB.
It's a gutsy performance from him, right? It wasn't all clean, but he gutted it out. He was tough in the pocket, made some plays, right? Made some big-time throws for us, and the receivers, they were reliable for him. They made those catches. They made tough catches, made big plays for us, so it's all those guys working together.
But then there's Panthers rookie QB Bryce Young.
Play action. Bryce Young throws it left side, and it's picked off by the Colts. They're running the other way with it. It's Kenny Moore again. He's at the 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! 2 of them today. A pick 6 by Kenny Moore. Touchdown! INDY.
Oops. Matt Taylor, Colts Radio. Indy picked off Young 3 times. Kenny Moore brought back 2 of them for points. Indy winning in Carolina 27-13. Cardinals rookie QB Clayton Tune gave it away 3 times, was sacked 7 times in a 27-0 loss in Cleveland. And Tyson Bagent with 3 picks in the Bears' 24-17 loss in New Orleans. But Aiden O'Connell did help those Raiders wallop the Giants 36, 5 days after all those changes. New York had Daniel Jones back from his neck injury until he suffered a suspected torn right ACL in the first half. All the way back out of those headlining games, the Chiefs held off the Dolphins in Germany 21-14. The Ravens smoked the Seahawks 37-3. The Eagles surviving the Cowboys 28-23. They're now 3 games up on Dallas in the win column in the NFC East. And the Bengals pushed their win streak to 4, 24-18 over the Bills on Sunday Night Football. Joe Burrow completing passes to 8 different receivers for a season-high 348 yards and 2 scores. USC's defense ruining its season, so coordinator Alex Grinch lost his job yesterday. The Trojans allowing 34.5 points per game after Washington scored 52 on Saturday. They're in the bottom 30 nationally in basically every major defensive category.
How about Caleb Williams?
Sobbing? Yeah.
After the game. That got a lot of attention. Here's the thing about Caleb Williams and the crying. You know, you love to see that the winning and losing really matters because this is someone who's probably going to be the number 1 overall pick. He's got so much more football to play in his career, and this is really just going to be a stopover and, and that's it because they're not going to be challenging for college football playoff. But he's got a lot more football. If he's crying over this, it's about to get really a lot harder for him because he's most likely going to a terrible team that's going to lose a lot early on in his career. I mean, maybe not. Maybe he's the exception who makes the playoffs his rookie season or something, but he's might have to be able to compartmentalize the losing a little bit easier.
Well, the thing is, USC has expectations. If he goes to Chicago, there's no expectations. I'm not sure. If you're the Bears quarterback and you lose, I don't think it hits that hard. USC is a little different.
I don't think Jay Cutler was losing sleep out of the loss.
And particularly Jay Cutler. He barely is paying attention as they lost.
I mean, the most memorable thing from Jay Cutler with the Bears is like maybe he smoked a pack of cigarettes like a day. That was like the meme is Jay Cutler smoking.
That was awesome.
This game, I feel like in terms of why he was crying, I feel like we lost sight of the fact that like basically everything he worked for this offseason was crushed in that game. He wanted to win the national championship. Okay, that wasn't going to happen. Okay, he wanted to win the Heisman. Okay, that wasn't going to happen. Here, okay, at least you have a chance to still win the Pac-12 and at least maybe go to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
and
not now.
That's not happening. Like, I think that people are stunned that he was crying. I'm like, yeah, all the things he worked for went kaput, except for the #1 pick, which he can still get.
Well, but I think that was the question. What does Caleb Williams really want? What's he in this for, right? Is he in it because his #1 goal is just to be the #1 overall pick, and college is a formality? And I think him crying like that, people saw, oh, this actually does matter to him, and he does really care about this.
But there's also this really strong narrative out there that actually I saw more of, that he is not in the same page with his teammates, wasn't named a captain. And there's a play where he seems really unhappy with his teammates that is also, which I think is totally ridiculous, which is getting played up. Have you guys heard that? People are questioning, is Caleb Williams a team guy?
I mean, I would hate my teammates if they gave up 52 points in a game and I scored 42. I'm sorry. Like, at a certain point, like, these guys are human, and Caleb Williams is trying to carry a team that, quite frankly, is not being coached that well, that should have fired the defensive coordinator probably before the season
the fans
started.
were right about this. This is one of those where the fans were right, and Lincoln Riley was either too loyal to the Alex Grinch or whatever, and you kind of blew 2 years of Caleb Williams.
That being said, good luck being defense coordinator of a run and shoot team. It has never worked in the history of college football, and never will work in the history of college football. And show me the one run and shoot coach. I mean, you have no chance there because the USC's offense moves so fast. Can we also say Caleb Williams is officially a magician? There were so many sacks that he got out of and threw the ball 50 yards downfield to an open guy that I did not understand. He's a fantastic player.
Unbelievable.
Would you say, Maggie, there's no doubt he's #1 overall still?
I still think he has it.
He's got it sealed.
Now here's the real question about whether you sit down for the rest of the season.
Now, that's a good point.
This was something that, Acho brought up like weeks ago. Now it's a real question. I still think he's going to play. Hell, he played a bowl game against Tulane last year. Like, he's going to keep playing.
Although there's going to be a time where there's a significant Drake-May conversation. And I think either Warren Sharp or Dane Brugler already, I saw, put him ahead of Caleb Williams.
I think that's for headlines. I can't.
Yeah, but
I know what you mean. I can't imagine. By the way, Caleb Williams is on every commercial all day long on Saturday. I don't know if he can sit. He's got Wendy's. He's got Nissan.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Pepper. He's got all three big ones. Don't you have to play to be in those ads? You can't be sitting.
I don't know. But he also had nowhere to go but down, right? Like, you win the Heisman in your second year.
And he's flatlined in the sense that he's just as good as he was last year. He's incredible, in my opinion.
The Memphis Grizzlies finally get win number 1 on try number 7, 112-100 in Portland. Desmond Bane scored 30. LaMelo Ball had 30 plus 10 boards and 13 assists, but the Hornets lost in Dallas 124-118. And the Cavs got their first home win, 115-104 over the Warriors. That also snaps a 16-game losing streak head-to-head. And a playoff record, 32,262 fans were in San Diego last night for an NWSL semifinal. Alex Morgan and the hometown Wave losing to OL Reign 1-0. So Megan Rapinoe's final pro match will be for the title against Gotham FC, who upset last year's winner Portland Thorns 1-0 in their semi yesterday. Guys, I'm done.
Andrew Bogish, thank you so much. What did Micah Parsons have to say about the penalties yesterday in the Cowboys-Eagles game? We get to that. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Cowboys lose yesterday in what was just brutal because you had hope at the end when the Eagles were basically trying to give the game away to the Cowboys and Cowboys couldn't take it. Penalties, a big story in this game. Micah Parsons, here he is talking about the penalties and how he actually was happy with the defense.
We learn what we messed up on, what we can learn from, how we did ourselves. But, we're going to see them again. That's the enjoyable part. A team like the 49ers, and we won't see them again. But we got a chance to get our redemption and at home where we've been pretty dominant. So it'll be exciting.
All right, so Micah Parsons taking it in stride. I mean, there was a big holding call that should have been called where there was holding.
Oh, come on.
I'm just saying.
Oh, okay, so now we're calling out one missed holding call in an NFL game? I mean, how many holding calls there are? 650.
They also missed a hands to the face on Gallup. They also missed a
They called 10 penalties on the Eagles. That's more
Sweat.
penalties than they've had in 3 years.
They had 3 of them in the last drive.
I know, it was a penalty fest. It was a penalty fest on both sides with the Eagles trying to give the game away on the final drive, and then it was the Cowboys handing the game right back to the Eagles with penalties of their own, and a bad Dak Prescott sack as well. Didn't see this coming, and you're welcome to weigh in on the Cowboys at 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I didn't see the number one critic of college football in the NFL, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Is he been doing this all season? Samuel Jackson went off on Colorado, tweeting the Buffaloes' loss to Oregon State. Brain farts all around. The OC can't run 3 plays to get off the field. The DC can't get his guys to stop a baby carriage. He said Shiloh. He meant Shador. Shador can barely walk and is going to end up playing wheelchair football behind that O-line. My rage is better served watching villains in a good Bollywood movie. Sham Shira, here I come. No more Buffalo ball tonight.
Oof. Oof.
And what did he say about Sean McVay yesterday?
Yeah, so I guess he was also watching Rams football yesterday, which was just as rough as Colorado. Yeah. He said, "At what point do we start the Rams coaching conversation?" With 2 question marks, but then also 2 exclamation points.
Wow.
So,
this actor strike,
but serious.
This actor strike has got to end.
I think 31 other teams in the NFL are like, ooh, if Sean McVay could come loose, I will take that guy. I guess he's not good enough for Sam Jackson, but he's good enough for us.
Chris is in Dallas, has a thought on Dak Prescott. Chris, good morning.
Good morning. This is Chris. I'm in Dallas just getting off work. And all I've been hearing all day is Dak played pretty good. We're not paying you pretty good money. We're paying you great money. So sometimes you need to play great, Dak. That's all I got.
Chris, and that's where I've been critical of Dak. Perloff has been defending him this morning because Dak had a great game in terms of his production, and the numbers are there. But you had a final drive. You actually had 2. You had 2 final drives. You took a bad sack on the second to last drive. You took a sack and a bad delay of game penalty. When you had 1st and goal at the 6 and you cannot convert that into points, you need a touchdown there. You're not going to get gift wrapped that many more opportunities.
Okay. There was no run game. Are you going to say anything about that? And the defense got torched by a limping Jalen Hurts. Torched. So where's Micah Parsons, by the way, we just played. Was he on the field? I didn't see him once. I mean, he made no noise. I think the Cowboys played exactly the way you don't want them to play. You want them to be ahead and run the ball, and their defense wasn't good enough.
We get more into the Cowboys' loss yesterday. 855-212-4CBS. Also coming up, what we got wrong. Oh, boy, this was painful. Get to that in a minute. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's the reigning Fortnite champion. She's a Call of Duty legend. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Midway through another NFL season, and we still don't know if Dak Prescott can ever win a big game. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. That is one of the standout games from yesterday. Perloff was there at the link. He was watching in person to cheer on his Eagles, but the story really became about the Cowboys. They get gifted 2 drives at the end of the game, Perloff, with a chance to score a touchdown to win the game down by 5. Dak Prescott takes a bad sack on the second to last drive, and then on the last drive, as the Eagles are gifting the Dallas Cowboys just penalty after penalty, please just take this game. Dallas is at the 6-yard line. They can't get it done from there, and then penalties and sacks end up backing the Cowboys up to the point where it was basically like a throw it up in the air play at the end to try to get a last-minute touchdown, and it didn't happen.
So we had the same argument, you and I did, when we first started the show about Dak at the end of the Niners playoff game where
2 years ago.
2 years ago, right when we started
in
the
Dallas,
show.
Right.
It was January, and he let the clock run out.
Yep.
These are very tough spots. It's not easy to score a touchdown with no timeouts and no time left on the clock because you have a very limited playbook. You can't do anything over the middle. You can't do anything short of the goal line. Someone called in and said Tony Pollard should have run the ball. You probably can't run Pollard. The Eagles defenders just line the end zone. It was a very difficult spot. I know he got sacked, but he was looking to make a play, and he did screw up, but the guy was on top of him immediately. I just think we're not giving
excuses.
We're making excuses. Yes, first of all, he was in the house of the defending NFC champion. He shouldn't need excuses, and he played them to 28-23. This game's in Dallas. The Cowboys probably win by 2 touchdowns. So I don't think he even needs excuses. He played a great game in an incredibly tough spot.
Okay, but
kept the Cowboys in the game. How he could criticize him today is beyond me.
Okay, but see, that's the thing. The Cowboy fan has seen this over and over again, where Dak plays well up until the time when it's time to win the game. And then all of a sudden, it's not a very good quarterback, as our pal Chris in Texas called us and said, we're not expecting him to be good. You're expecting him to be great. He said he loved the challenge of playing in Philadelphia. He said he thought this is the closest that it's like to an SEC environment. You want the smoke? Here it is. Here you are, right at the goal line, and you can't do anything. And I imagine the Cowboy fans have to do, it's not even here we go again. It's like, are you ever going to be able to do this in a game that counts, that matters, that shows, that we are legit? And so far, the answer is still no.
So I think that was pretty legit. I think the Cowboys, that was probably one of the better games they played this year. I thought they looked very legit. It's on the road against the best team in the NFL.
I know, and you had a chance to win it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a long season. If you walk away from that game as a Cowboys, if you get that game from Dak Prescott and your defense wakes up, I mean, he didn't. Remember, the big problem was interceptions. How many interceptions did he have? How many fumbles did he have?
None yesterday. Clean game.
Yeah,
well, clean except for, unfortunately for him, and he was trying to make a super athletic move, which was trying to go for the 2-point conversion, and then he steps out by like a toe. I mean, really, this game came down to inches.
He made that play. People are ripping him because he stepped out of bounds. There's no way he made that play himself.
Okay,
the design play failed on them.
You're kind of giving him a bit of like a participation trophy, like a little bit of, hey, attaboy, you were close, but you'll get him next time. And I think Cowboy fans are kind of sick of that, because it's not like he's out of nowhere. It's not like he's young. It's not like he's not being paid like one of the highest paid. It's not like he has all this accomplishments that you can kind of look back on and say, well, he's done it before, so he's got this sort of championship DNA. he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt in any sense.
But what you're saying is anything short of sweeping the Eagles in the regular season is a failure because they're probably going to win in Dallas. Of course, you lose a tight divisional game on the road.
Okay.
That happens all the time. That doesn't mean he's not a leader. He's not going to win a big game because guess what? This Cowboys team is going to be in the playoffs and he's going to get a chance again in a real big game.
So it's just how it looked yesterday. It's not about, okay, yes, on paper, you were a 3-point underdog in this game. You go into the link and you lose a game. Okay, forgivable, whatever. Then when you actually watch the game, and I know you were there for every snap, you're watching it in person, and you see 1st and 5 at the Philadelphia 6 after you've moved the ball on this final drive. You're down by 5. You got 27 seconds left, and you get a false start, then sacked, then incomplete, then delay of game. Then you're 3rd and 26 at the Philadelphia 27 when you were just at the 6-yard line.
Well,
and now it's like basically like a mini Hail Mary to CeeDee Lamb.
Right, but it was bad to take the sack. But it's not easy to score from the 11-yard line with no timeouts in 20 seconds. That is not a good spot because the Eagles, just every defender is in the end zone. They know what they're going to do. There's not a lot of options. I think Dak kept them in that game. Dak and CeeDee Lamb, I thought it was a great performance by him yesterday. 60, maybe not 60 minutes, maybe 59 minutes and 37 seconds, but I thought that was one of the better quarterback games I've seen live. I thought he was incredible.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. EJ, let's get some early poll results, please.
Yeah, so we asked the question, will Dak Prescott ever come through in the clutch? We have 20% say yes, 80% say no.
Let's go to poll 2. Was that loss on Dak Prescott yesterday?
Second poll.
Okay.
Poll part 2. I like it. Let's check in with our pal Big Dave is in Kentucky. Big time Cowboy fan. Dave, how you feeling this morning?
More optimistic than I've been about the Cowboys in 18 months.
Oh, wow. Do tell.
Seriously. I mean, you take away 90 seconds worth of plays. Start with, my fear is that we couldn't even play on the same level as the Eagles. I thought Dak had a great last 2 games. Listen, he's looked more mature. Seems like he's more in command of the offense. CeeDee Lamb's finally involved. Had 3 consecutive big games in a row. Listen, there's a debacle. It's all part of the grand scheme for me. And don't hang up, Maggie, on me like you sometimes do when I finish this sentence.
My hands are off the call screener. It's your world, Dave.
Got a bone to pick with you as soon as I make this pick.
Oh, all right.
I mean, it's all part of the grand scheme. Of we're so close. Bill Belichick to the Cowboys in 2024.
Whoa.
I mean, it's all falling into place just like I predicted. Some time ago. So anyway, but listen, Max, I didn't call it last week, but I did get to hear the show some. You and I are typically of one mind.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, you had 2 separate takes last week that just made me pull my truck over and put my head in my hands.
Uh-oh.
Take number 1 was primetime Deion Sanders to the Raiders.
I stand by that one, Dave. That's one of the best ideas I've ever had.
Maggie, listen. Unless it's for the circus value. I mean, you want to talk about going from the frying pan into the fire. To start with, listen, I'm a prime fan. You know that he's a former cowboy. Once a cowboy, always a cowboy. But he's done nothing. I mean, he's done nothing to warrant even possible consideration for an elevated job in college at the college
Dave,
level.
But the second part was you draft Shador, bring him with you, and it's funny. We were just having this conversation. Are we sure that Deion Sanders X's and O's Y's is a good coach? That's still on the table. What was the other take you had a bone to pick with me?
That Nick Saban was retiring after this year. There is no way
I believe that one
in hell.
Too.
No way in hell. He's having more fun right now than he's had in 10 years.
I know, but Dave, don't you get the sense that it's like having fun like senior year style? Like, when it's senior year, you're in the second semester senior year, and you're like, I just got to cherish this. We're going to do a couple senior skip days. We're going to go out and party. We're going to have fun, and I'm not going to take everything so seriously. That's the vibe I'm getting from Saban.
See, it's not what I'm getting.
Yeah.
You're getting the vibe, and of course I relate everything to the penitentiary. When when someone had decided to commit suicide, they find peace. That's kind of where you're at. I don't know. That's kind of a grotesque way to look at it.
Oh, gosh.
But no, I think he has accepted things the way they are. He understands that he has to morph into the new world with everyone else, and I think he's going. I think the next couple of years are going to be really good for Saban, and then I think he probably steps away, but not now.
Dave, you're great. Thank you for the phone call. Have yourself a great Monday. Dave, a little optimistic about the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, their Super Bowl odds went up after that. This is a different Cowboys team. That's very clear. They're way tougher than they've been in the past. I was in the building, so I didn't see it, but that looked like they were punch for punch with the Eagles, who are a really tough team. There is something a little in their character. I know they blew this, but did you see, wow, that's a really physical team, which is not something you've always said about Dallas. Their defense is legit.
Let's go to Carla. She's in Idaho. Good morning, Carla. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. What's on your mind?
Great. Well, I'm not a big Dallas fan, so I haven't really kept track of Dak Prescott. But it seems like every time I hear anything about him, it's kind of like what you were starting off with, and sounds like he ended up sounding better. Perloff is kind of interested in him this time. But, how long has he been in the NFL, and what has he ever done?
Yeah. Fair. I mean, Carla, you're saying what every Dallas Cowboy fan is thinking.
Well, that's because I'm not a fan, so I can say it, right?
Well, for Dak Prescott, it's been, 2016. Carla, thank you for the phone call. It's been 2016 in the league. So you're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Almost a decade.
So how many different quarterbacks have won Super Bowls in that year?
Well, I mean, between Tom Brady and Mahomes, they've kind of had a bit of a stranglehold over the whole thing.
And if you're applying that, what has your quarterback, Josh Allen in Buffalo, done?
Listen, I just told you I don't think the Bills are making the playoffs. I am fully aware of all of the
but I don't think
of the pitfalls of the team that I root for, and you accuse me of being a negative fan, and I'm just telling you I see what's really going on.
Right, but I don't feel the narrative is around Josh Allen being a disappointment like Dak.
Well, Josh Allen has made it to an AFC Championship game. Dak Prescott is not.
Yeah, okay. But you're saying so Josh Allen has achieved something and Dak has not. Okay.
No, but I'm
Justin. What has Justin Herbert achieved?
But what does one thing have to do with another?
Because Carla is saying that Dak Prescott hasn't achieved anything because he hasn't been to the Super Bowl. But that's a lot of really good quarterbacks.
But we criticize all of them. Justin Herbert gets criticized. Josh Allen gets criticized.
Do we really? We criticize Brandon Staley. Do we really criticize? You criticize Justin Herbert, but generally
win a game, win a big game.
Yeah,
I think that we do. I mean,
it's
also
kind of,
Dak Prescott is 9 years in. Those other guys are like 5 and 6 years in.
Yeah, but he's been hurt at key times. Listen, Dak is not obviously thought of the same as Josh Allen. Josh Allen's top 3 in MVP consideration. I think Dak is between 5 and 10. I think Dak played a great game yesterday.
He did, and he's played good games. But again, what happened at the end? That's where the criticism comes. It's what happened when the game. It's not just all time and just going back over Dak's history and what has he done in this league. What I said before is he doesn't have championship pedigree to rely on in terms of credibility and currency with the fan base.
Can you think of a game that he's blown?
No, well, this one.
No, where they were leading and they blew a lead.
Well, Dallas is made to play from in front. We've said that before.
Yeah.
They're a great front runner team.
I mean,
but that's not how it always goes in the NFL.
We're ripping him for games where they were desperately coming back all the time. So I don't know if that's supposed to be a compliment for Dak, but it's not like he's blowing 3 touchdown leads.
Listen,
he's definitely, they're in tough games, close games, and he's desperately trying to come back, and he's coming up short.
This is not a one-size-fits-all situation. This is a what happened yesterday in the game and how uncharacteristic it was to have the Eagles defense give you penalty after penalty after penalty on that final drive. It was like the Eagles were trying to give the ball away. You had the Hassan Reddick roughing the passer penalty.
Oh, that was weak.
You had Jalen Carter encroachment on a 1st and 10. And that's when you and obviously you had a huge chunk play Dak Prescott had earlier in the series. You had these major penalties that helped you out. And then all of a sudden, you just decided to start handing the game right back to the Eagles.
You had a false start. I mean, okay, we're killing Dak because they had a false start. Once you get to the 11, I knew that was
the
over.
First
that was
and
it.
5
that was
at the 6
game.
And the false start.
Right, the false start. Once you get to the 11 with 25 seconds and no timeouts, that's a tough spot. Yeah, I thought Dak played great. If I told you coming in the season, Dak was going to throw 5 interceptions, 3 of them in one game through 9 weeks and have the best completion percentage of his career, with that defense, you would have thought, okay, this is a good formula. I mean, we did not expect, all we said coming in the season, if Dak doesn't throw interceptions, then this defense will win games. And they've been pretty close to that formula. I'm telling you, they're not that far off.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Elsewhere in the NFC East, got some bad news this morning, and you kind of knew it last night if you were watching yesterday afternoon, if you were watching that game, that Daniel Jones has a torn ACL, according to Ian Rappaport. He's going to be out for the season. Now, this Giants season just keeps going from bad to worse. Last year looked like a complete now outlier. They've been terrible. And they lose yesterday to Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders and Antonio Pierce's interim coaching debut. But the big question here with the Giants is this could set up one of the big quarterback controversies for next season, because they're going to have a high pick, Perloff, and they'd be crazy not to take a quarterback with that high pick.
Yeah, I saw some of this on Twitter. What controversy? And it's 100% certain they're going to take a quarterback. First of all, J.J. McCarthy feels like a Giant. I don't know why. I think that's a done deal in my mind. Unless they get up at a 1-2, yeah, I think they're definitely taking a quarterback, because Daniel Jones, 1 more year left, basically. I think coming off an ACL that he suffered in November, he's not going to really have a full offseason to really take hold of that job, I would hope. Unless they think, let's get Marvin Harrison Jr. to him, like they did with Saquon and Eli. That never works. So I think they have to take the quarterback, in my opinion.
I hope they learn their lesson from, and listen, Eli Manning was at a different point than Daniel Jones. He was a two-time Super Bowl champ. They thought maybe, we could rip off another one with Eli. Let's get him Saquon Barkley. Meanwhile, let's not fix our offensive line at all. So none of this makes sense and everything's totally, bass-ackwards, as they say. This time, they're going to have to take a quarterback, and Daniel Jones is going to be a very expensive bridge to that young quarterback.
Absolutely. The question is, so the top 2, Arizona is really intent on getting that one. I think they might have put the death knell on the tankathon yesterday with Clayton Tune. And then Chicago has that Carolina pick, and you know how, I mean.
Let's hit the music, because we can just do this quickly here about owning up.
We can't be right all the time.
Samsonite. I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Time for Maggie and Perloff to own up.
This one can be fast. Why in the hell am I betting on the Carolina Panthers?
No idea.
What is wrong with me? I took a home dog in our picks. I'm going 0 for 3 this week, by the way. I suck this year at picking games or anything. So do not follow me on any of this stuff.
Can I throw out or me, by the way? Just so we're clear. Like, all right, Maggie's not doing well. I'll go to Perloff. Just slow down that a little bit.
Please. It's terrible. I don't know why I thought that the Carolina Panthers would be able to do anything. They are the worst team. And Bryce Young, these interceptions look so bad. Now, this one I think I was kind of right about. I was not a huge Bryce Young fan. Listen, you're a fan of him in college. How could you not be? But I didn't think he was going to have a very easy rookie year, and that's turning out to be true. Perloff, his interceptions are horrible. These are not tip passes. These are not like, 50-50 balls. These are just straight-up throws to the other team. Like, are you colorblind and you might not know what the jersey is that you're throwing to?
I don't think one thing I'll say about Bryce Young, his job is not easy there in Carolina. That is, especially when you're short like that. I'm telling you right now.
That's not changing. He's not going to hit a growth spurt.
Bet on the money line on the Panthers at the end of the year. And I'll tell you why. They don't have their own draft pick, and they play a string of the worst teams in the NFL. So they're gonna sneak away some wins here, despite how terrible they are.
They made the Colts look like the '85 Bears. I mean, it was so bad yesterday. I know we have a lot of teams that could be the worst in the NFL. You have to put the Panthers at the top of the list.
The good thing is they play the 2023 Bears this Thursday. So I think that
poor Al Michaels.
Look, they have the Bears, the Titans, 2 games against the Bucks, the Saints, who are awful, by the way, Atlanta, who's terrible, Green Bay, who stinks. Then at Jacksonville. Hopefully Jacksonville will be wrapped up for the Panthers. Otherwise, that'll be ugly.
The Saints look like amazing compared to the Panthers.
The Saints are bad, too. The NFC South, I'm telling you, the Panthers are going to find a way to win this and cost the Bears that draft pick.
We need to have a deeper discussion about who the worst team is in the NFL, because I'm telling you, I'm right here about the Panthers. They're not going to have the pick, but this is so flawed and so bad. I'm stunned. George is in Los Angeles, has a thought on the Rams quarterback situation. Good morning, George.
Good morning, Maggie and Perloff. Yeah, we will definitely be looking for a quarterback next year. I realize Stafford's still around, but he's towards the end. He keeps getting hurt, and thank God we finally got a bye. But this Rippin kid, I'm sorry, he's not an NFL caliber quarterback in my opinion. And there's going to be a lot of teams next year looking for quarterbacks. Thank you.
You're right, George, and the Rams are going to be one of them.
Yeah, they're at 6 now in the draft. That's a prime spot.
Listen, the fact that Stafford even got basically to midseason is a minor miracle. They went into the year knowing that they had it's almost like the Raiders. You went into the year knowing you had a flawed quarterback situation, and you never meaningfully did anything to try to upgrade.
Yeah, but are you going to cost a bunch of future resources to? I mean, how are they going to upgrade?
Sign a better backup.
Sign a better back. Okay, I see what you're saying.
I know Stetson Bennett was supposed to be there, but
you didn't mean upgrade over Stafford. I thought you wanted.
No, I'm saying either sign a better backup if you think your team can actually still win, or, to be honest, the one move that everyone at the deadline should have made. EJ's Jets should have made this move. The Rams should have made the move. Everyone should have been in on Josh Dobbs. If you had even a questionable quarterback, it was a 6th round pick for Minnesota, and he becomes the story of the NFL right now. Josh Dobbs, basically off the street, gets traded, gets in the building by Wednesday last week, and led the Minnesota Vikings to a win yesterday.
Okay, so
6th round pick, EJ. Would you not feel better?
I totally agree. When I watched how Josh Dobbs play yesterday, I said, you know what? Those games where Zach Wilson doesn't look like he knows his head from his, you know what?
Yeah.
Like, you could have taken him out, put in Josh Dobbs, who don't even know the playbook. He could have actually done something. He could have made some plays. I mean, maybe won some games that just lost.
I'm
that
totally
Patriots
invested in
game, he
Josh.
absolutely could have beat the Patriots.
Do you understand Josh Dobbs came in with Titans and didn't win a game last year, too, in the same exact situation? And trust me, the Vikings are going to lose a bunch of games. What's that?
He went up against the Cowboys with 8 days notice. That's a different animal than playing against the Falcons.
But I'm just saying, I don't think that all of a sudden Josh Dobbs is going to come in here and lead you to the NFC title game.
I believe anything about Josh Dobbs. Are you crazy? I will literally believe he can do anything. He's Batman. You put up the signal, Josh Dobbs comes, and
what do you
saves
think?
the day.
I'm just curious. If you had to guess his career record, what do you think it is?
Oh, well, he's going to have a bad record because he's only going to be playing on bad teams and flawed teams, right?
He's never played on
so you want him to go to the Jets?
If he went to the Jets, they could win a playoff game.
First of all, we have a winning record, Perloff, so you got to put some respect on the Jets' name.
Okay, you want to help a quarterback, add something to his career. Don't send him to the Jets, though, EJ. Admit that.
No, but my problem was the Jets, again, not doing their due diligence because Aaron Rodgers is really running the show and not Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. We've seen Zach Wilson have the propensity to have these terrible games, and the Jets are in a position because of how well their defense plays that they can make the playoffs, which is an absolute must for this season. The fact that they didn't kick the tires on Josh Dobbs
for a 6th round pick. Yeah. I mean, again, I think that a lot of teams, and I think the Rams would be another team that's kicking yourself because.
No, I think the Rams want in on next year.
Or maybe the Rams do, but maybe the Rams want to make the playoffs. I don't know.
And it's not that the Jets didn't make a move. They got Trevor Siemian. So it'd almost be different if you said, well, the Jets just didn't do anything, which maybe would be worse. But they did say, okay, we need to get a veteran. Why not get a veteran who can actually win a game? Which we know Trevor Siemian is not winning anything.
I hope you're talking about week 2. You're not talking about week 8, right?
Trade deadline.
Trade deadline. The Jets decided the day Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Why didn't they do this?
Well, I don't know if he was available at that point.
Well, anybody though. I mean, the Jets made their bed with Zach Wilson when they decided when Aaron Rodgers got hurt not to bring in competition. Right. This is first of all, Josh Dobbs. For all this magic yesterday, he's still got to learn the playbook. I mean, this is a tough.
It can only get better.
You don't want to bring in someone to week 8. You had a chance. Week 1 is when it was the 4th play of the game.
Listen, I don't know
until week 4 to bring in Trevor Siemian. I don't think.
Yeah.
This whole thing.
Did you say this in week 1? They should bring in a veteran or no?
Yeah, everybody was saying that.
Yeah,
so that's when the mistake happened. Forget the trade deadline.
I know, but Josh Dobbs has shown that he can come in and somehow. He can decipher the playbook in only a matter of days. It's amazing. 855-212-4CBS.
I know, but it was second win.
855-212-4227.
Second win of his career.
Fire everybody in Atlanta. Get them all out. You just lost to a guy who got to the building on Wednesday. How does that happen? Coming up, so much more to do, including the one do-over that a coach would like to have back. We'll get to that in a minute. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Eat the chili. No hands.
What are we waiting for? Take this!
One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Man, what a compliment to my Philadelphia Eagles that they beat one of the better teams in the NFL, and everyone's saying, what's wrong with the Eagles? What a compliment to the Kansas City Chiefs. They beat the Dolphins. Everyone's like, oh, the Chiefs are in trouble. Whatever happened to winning a football game in the NFL? It's not the in-season tournament in the NBA. Winning is all that winning the championship. I don't understand. I feel like there's a lot of criticism for both those teams and other teams. At the end of the day, it's a win-loss sport, and I'm sick of this sort of judging teams. The Chiefs specifically. The Chiefs look great to me. I do not care if they're in close games.
Are you only watching the first half of the game?
I'm actually going to the very end where they list the winner and the loser, Maggie. I'm just getting mad. The way everyone covers football, I feel like, oh, it's not good enough. It doesn't look good enough. But as Bill Parcells once said,
yeah,
you are what your record says, and he wants to. What was his other big expression about shopping in the same grocery store?
Well, yeah, you can't expect me to cook the meal.
You got to get something. You got to be able to get some of the groceries.
Yeah, you can't expect me to cook the meal if I can't pick out the groceries. But here's the thing about what happened with the Chiefs and the Dolphins yesterday. The Chiefs has scored 14 points against the Dolphins. They scored 9 points the week before. This is a team now that is being led by the defense. And that is a very odd thing for most of us to wrap our brains around when you have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. And the offense just doesn't look like it's that punishing offense that used to, you have the basically like mind exploding, brain exploding plays. And instead it's the defense. Now, you've said you think this could be the most dangerous team of the Chiefs era of this Mahomes era because the defense is so good.
I mean, look at it from a team building perspective. They could not. Their offense was so good. You created this monster in Tyreek Hill who needed $30 million a year. So they started investing in their defense. They started draft picks around their defense because they can't afford to keep this offense together. I think it's sort of an interesting team building strategy, and it might help Patrick Mahomes sort of survive, because how many times did Patrick Mahomes have to run around and make a play? He kept getting hurt in the playoffs. I think they said, hey, this formula might be a little dangerous.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to help, like, potentially keep him any more, like, injury free. Like, you're still because you're still in tight games. So,
but last year he had to drop back and stay in the pocket all towards the end. He had to make a million plays on one leg. I don't think they want that anymore.
Well, they have Pacheco now, which makes a big difference also.
I think they should give it to him more, even. He runs so angry. Yeah, it looks a little bit off, but a win is a win. Germany's a weird thing. I just think that they have to feel happy today. They're going into the bye, got a big W. Same with the Eagles going into a bye. Then again, I am also defending Dak Prescott, who lost. But I just think the ability to win is something that some teams have, and it's a big thing. I think we underestimate just finding a way to get the W.
Right. So this is the part, and yes, you could just say, oh, the game was in Germany. Maybe we're just going to, blow it off. But to me, what I'm used to seeing from the Kansas City Chiefs is when they're up 21-14 and they get the ball with 4 minutes left. That's it. Game over. And they can salt the game away, and that's not what happened. They end up giving it back to the Miami Dolphins with 2:27 left to play, and the Dolphins went on a run. Now, unfortunately for Miami, it was 1st and 10 at the Kansas City 31, incomplete. 2nd and 10, incomplete. 3rd and 10, incomplete with a weird Tim Tebow style shot put sort of pass. And then on 4th and 10, Tua couldn't even handle the snap and fumbles the snap, and that's it. It's game over. A very disappointing end for the Dolphins after they had basically, worked the ball down the field to give a shot of tying the game.
One reason the Chiefs had that issue was the Dolphins had a 9-minute drive. The Dolphins were playing like they were ahead, so they saw an ability to run. They killed 9 minutes of the clock. The Dolphins screwed themselves with their play calling, so the Chiefs didn't get the ball at all in the fourth quarter. The Dolphins had this strange run drive that Mike McDaniel seemed to be a little bit lost, I thought, because they were playing as if they were ahead, and it didn't work out. The other thing, what do you think of Mahomes? Mahomes isn't a salt away a win. He's a trailing in the Super Bowl and just get red hot late in the fourth quarter guy. He needs to be explosive. He clearly is not super comfortable when he has to eat some clock. You saw it against Detroit. He just doesn't, he likes to play completely loose. I think he gets tight in those situations.
Chiefs were 3 for 10 on 3rd down. I mean, it's just not what you're used to seeing. Meanwhile, tons of penalties in this game as well.
Oh, I know. That was
9 penalties on the Chiefs, only 6 on the Dolphins, but it felt like the Dolphins, all of them came when the Dolphins were on offense. I felt like they were in 3rd and 8 or longer all day long because of penalties.
Well, the only thing, Tua was just terribly off. I mean, the only thing they could do was run the ball, so that kind of put them in a tough spot. It's hard to come back. Even in that situation, even at the end, I know they had their chances, but Tua hadn't shown you anything all game where he was going to throw the ball down the field.
No, Tua wasn't great down, but maybe that's a little credit to the Kansas City, and their secondary was really good, and they definitely bottled up Tyreek Hill.
And also the blitz got home every time, and everyone knows that the Chiefs are going to blitz, and Tua looked like he had no idea it was coming.
So the Dolphins still have to answer that question, can you beat a good team? They haven't beat a team with an over 500 record, in forever. And I still think the Dolphins, like on their best day, I know that's on a lot of teams, but on their best day, I still believe they can beat anybody. I still think that this team deserves to be feared, but yesterday was a litmus test game for them, and they failed it.
Yeah, I'd like to see Achane come back. I'd like to see them all there on the same field. That would be nice, because last night they just really felt, yesterday morning, non-dangerous on offense the entire game.
Our pal Jay is in Nashville, is on the horn. Good morning, Jay. How are you?
I was telling EJ, apparently I was trying to get my breakfast at Taco Bell this morning, but I guess they only serve breakfast on the weekend, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard of. I mean,
wait a minute.
People got to go to work.
Hold on one second. If I'm going to be subjected to that horrible Pete Davidson commercial 100 times every Sunday, they're not even doing breakfast during the week?
I just pulled up. I just pulled out of their drive-thru right now. I had to go across the street. I'm pulling into that same McDonald's where the police had like fully automatic AK-47s out at.
Yeah, we
when
remember.
I'm trying to get a McGriddle, so I'm back at the McGriddle. Oh yeah, by the way, y'all need to do a show where EJ finally gets a McGriddle, a fresh hot McGriddle, and he has to eat it live on TV, and we get to see his like that goodness of a facial expression when he takes his first bite.
And everyone else is going to have like vicariously enjoy him eating this?
Oh, my God. I just want to see the look on his face. I mean, this guy's a grown man that's never had a McGriddle.
You ever seen those videos where people give their babies like ice cream for the first time, and you see the kid's face just like, oh, my gosh, like their whole world opens up? That could be EJ with the McGriddle.
That's EJ, man. I mean, EJ had that facial expression like, where have you been all my life? But as far as Josh Dobbs, that was kind of, I follow, I'm a Vol hater. Even I like the old school Vols,
yeah.
But I mean, I lived in Alabama so long. I'm a Vol hater, but like I always followed Josh Dobbs for the simple fact of what the guy was majoring in when he was in college and playing football at the same time. So
aerospace engineer.
I always followed the guy. The guy's a very highly intelligent dude, but I always followed him. It's kind of an amazing feat what we watched him do, and
it was incredible. Jay, I'm sorry, we're up against it here. It's great to talk with you. We will, EJ, you can decide. Whatever day this week you want to try a McGriddle for the first time, we can get McDonald's here.
I'm down for it. I'm down to do it on camera, do it on the air, and we'll see what happens. Look, like I said, my dad tried it once, said it wasn't that great. So that was it.
Your dad has poor taste, man.
Honestly, the way everyone talks about it, it's like you're just going to have a total orgasm on the air. So this is going to be interesting.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. This might be a black mark in the EJ career here. On.
The thing about the Josh Dobbs story, unbelievable story. I think he's going to end up going to space one day.
Like on his own?
I could see him being like a Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, politician type in his future. Where
I just think didn't Strahan go to space and William Shatner? Celebrities are going to space now with Bezos and those guys. I think Josh Dobbs has enough of a Q rating that he's going to get on one of those flights.
Oh, definitely.
What's it called? Blue Horizon?
Well, are there any schedule? I know they're going to Europe. Any games scheduled for the moon or anything going on? Dobbs will be the perfect quarterback.
That's 2050.
Yeah, we're doing Spain and then Brazil first.
Yeah.
And then
that's the NFL Milky Way.
Do you think kickers have an advantage in Denver with the altitude? You should see on the moon. Justin Tucker can hit a 4-mile field goal.
4th and infinity. I can't wait. Goodell's been dying to colonize the moon. Bogish is here. With an update.
And I can also confirm that at least the Taco Bell nearest here serves breakfast on weekdays because we've gotten it multiple times. So that's a bad Taco Bell
It's just trying
Nashville?
to get in the way of Jay's having a good morning.
Eagles QB, Maggie, I'm sure you noticed this. Eagles QB Jalen Hurts really wants us to know that his left knee hurts, hopping around after a collision late in the second quarter yesterday, but finishing the 28-23 escape from the Cowboys.
You know, it was a gritty win. It was a tough win. Much respect to that team. I'm always very competitive, but I don't think the bye week could come at a better time.
Hurts threw for one score, ran for another. His Eagles 8-1, the best mark in the NFL. Tight end Dallas Goedert is actually hurt, suffering a reported fractured forearm yesterday. Further testing today to determine the severity. The Bengals are still hot after a Sunday night visit from the Bills. It's a 4-game win streak after the 24-18 final. Head coach Zach Taylor.
These are the stages they want to be on. They don't shy away from them. That confidence is earned confidence. It's not anything phony to try to present themselves as if they're ready for these games. They've worked for it, and they trust not only themselves, but they trust their teammates.
Joe Burrow, 2 touchdown passes. They played from ahead all night long. The Bills did get within 6 on a late Josh Allen TD pass, but couldn't get the ball back over the final 3.5 minutes. Allen not enjoying 5-4.
Stings. Losing's never fun. Losing sucks. It's one thing though. We're not going to let this divide us. And we're gonna come together. We're gonna figure it out. I got a lot of faith in the men in this locker room and the coaching staff and the guys around me. So we're gonna figure it out.
I really hated this last night. People online were trying to make a big deal about Stephon Diggs at the halftime, like shaking his head and like being demonstrably like frustrated and like, see, this is already the fracture. It's like, no. He was frustrated because they called an intentional grounding when Josh Allen threw the ball into the second row. Like, no one ever calls that. Couple BS calls. Not the reason why they lost the game. Couple BS calls. And Josh is right that people try to divide the Bills. Meanwhile, more losses so far this year than all of last year. That can't be good.
And as of the moment, the Jets are ahead of them in the AFC East based on win percentage pending tonight's game with the Chargers. So Daniel Jones ended a 3-game absence thanks to a neck injury and likely tore his right ACL before halftime of yesterday's 36 Giants loss in Vegas. And Viking running back Cam Akers suffered a left Achilles injury less than 2 years after popping the other one. Ugh. USC and Lincoln Riley finally gave in yesterday. Fired D coordinator Alex Grinch, who came from Oklahoma with Riley. The Trojans have allowed 41, 41, 48, 34, 49, and 52 points over their last 6 games. They actually won 3 of those games somehow. He is the number 1 pitcher on the market this winter, 25-year-old righty from Japan, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and his Japanese team, the Oryx Buffaloes, began the posting process yesterday after losing Game 7 of their World Series. Yamamoto struck out 14, throwing 138 pitches in Game 6 to extend that series. And I know you guys have been waiting for this. Jays third baseman Matt Chapman won his 4th Gold Glove yesterday. The world champion Rangers had 3 winners: Adolis Garcia, first baseman Nathaniel Lowe, and catcher Jonah Heim. A couple of streaks ended last night for the Warriors. They were 4 for 4 on the road this season. They had beaten the Cavs 12 straight times until losing in Cleveland 114-105. Head coach Steve Kerr.
It was a weird game. We just never got it connected. It just never felt like our offense helped our defense or vice versa.
The Cavs got 31 points from Donovan Mitchell for their first win in 4 home games. And MLS postseason, West number 1, St. Louis City, suffering a 2-game sweep, losing at Sporting KC last night 2-1. LAFC with a smaller upset, also in a sweep, winning 1-0 at Vancouver yesterday. Guys, back to you.
Andrew Bogish, thank you so much. Coming up, we do have the latest, the Michigan sign stealing scandal. What twist and turn did you miss from this weekend? We'll get you updated in just minutes. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
This is Andrew Perloff with an Odyssey Sports Minute, sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. This is Andrew.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff, welcome on back into the show. Busy Monday. We've been talking a lot of NFL, but that doesn't mean we can't check in on the Michigan sign-stealing scandal. Can we get a little amazing clue in our lives?
I got a one-track mind. I'm not going to be speculating. Can let others speculate that.
It's time for Maze and Clue.
Okay, so the latest from over the weekend, two things. Number one, it looks like Perloff, one of my predictions was correct, which is there is a couple fan sites linking the investigators who first rooted out the Connor Stallions. The Connor Stallions was on the road scouting. Can be tied back to Ryan Day's brother. Now, I'm not sure if he's the one footing the bill, and I'm not sure if all this is true, but that came out over the weekend just in time for Michigan to finally take the field again. They beat Purdue 41-13, so congrats to Purdue on the cover, but very icy handshake afterwards between Ryan Walters and Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, that game was, it's funny because I still think Michigan has a great chance to blow out everybody and go to the Final Four. You saw it on the field that you knew this wasn't going to matter, right? Like nothing in sign stealing, not having Purdue's play wasn't going to make a difference. Obviously, the big one is Penn State coming up.
Yep.
But I still think Penn State kind of stinks. I think Michigan is they're going to present their side of the argument. Look, we won in a blowout, so therefore we're still good. But I don't know if people are going to buy that. Did you get any sense if fans saw that result and said, oh, okay, maybe they weren't cheating?
No, absolutely not. We still want more twists and turns. Also, one of the most important twists and turn is Connor Stallions resigning from Michigan. Now, he had been suspended with pay, I believe, and now he resigned. And according to him and his lawyer, he's taken this thing to the grave. He does not plan on ratting anyone out, which is funny because, listen, once the pressure gets dialed up, once the investigators really start poking around, is he going to feel the need to, explain whether or not Jim Harbaugh knew anything about them?
Well, he didn't break a law. I mean, the investigators can come after him, but it's not like the police are coming after him.
No.
I don't think there's any FBI.
Trespassing?
Yeah, that's a law.
I guess if it's true that Central Michigan did not give him a press pass and he somehow got on the field.
I thought he knew all those assistants, and that's why he got in there. Didn't he coach with half those guys or something?
Yeah, but
the fact that he went on there with his own Central Michigan gear and was acting like he was part of the staff. That I can't imagine that's not
let's relax. I'm not going to hit him with espionage.
So do you think that police are going to charge him for trespassing on that?
No, you just said that he didn't commit a crime. I said, well, if he was trespassing, then that is a crime.
Wow, I don't know.
It's funny. I didn't think about that. Jim McElwain said that they're not sure how he got onto the sideline. That's all part of the investigation. First of all, we're not even 100% sure that was him on the sideline, right? So we still have to ascertain whether it was actually 100% him, and then how did he get down there and how did he get that press pass or coaching pass or whatever.
Wait, just to be clear, EJ, you don't think the actual police are going to look into this? You're just saying technically it's a crime.
No. I don't think that they'll do anything about that. I'm saying in terms of what he'd have to own up to. I'm like, well, I mean, he did.
But I don't even think the police can even get him in a room and say, hey, you trespassed here. I don't think there's anything to put you can't leverage him in any way.
You get a ticket for that, right? I don't even know if you would get anything. I don't think you get charged with anything.
This isn't about the police. This is about court of public opinion, I think, mostly. And if all this whole scandal is going to get heaped on him, and if he feels like that's unjust, then he might want to sing. Now, we never heard again from the deflator. To be fair, that Patriot scandal, which I feel like is kind of a little bit akin to this one, which is like a low-level staffer who was at the center of this, who we'd never heard of before. We never heard of the deflator. He has gone away. Those two guys, both of them, they've both gone away quietly. So does the same happen for our former Marine?
I will guarantee it. Did you tweet something? They're off on an island together hanging out?
Wataneo. The deflator. This is the deflator and Connor Stallions just meeting up like Red and Andy Dufresne at the end of Shawshank.
He will never be seen again. Maybe 14 years from now, there'll be a funny-looking guy on the sideline, a little balder, a little older, and they're like, wait, is that him? Is that Connor Stallions?
Do you think he keeps the manifesto? I mean, you never know. He might take over the program one day.
He has an insurance policy. Wink, wink.
We all know nothing's happening here, right? The NCAA lost a huge court battle this weekend. Like, the NCAA might be gone in 2 years. Just happened? Big Ten's not coming after him. NCAA's not coming after him. Nothing is happening.
You say
people.
definitively, the haters are coming. You say definitively the Big Ten's not going to do something. I think the jury's still out on that.
That's your best chance, maybe, the conference. Okay, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
Coming up, you got the biggest story from the weekend. We've got it all for you in just moments. Do not touch that dial. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She can run the 40 faster than Tom Brady. He got a perfect score on the Wonderlic. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome into the show. Another near miss for the Dallas Cowboys. How many times are we going to say that? And this one could be sticking around for a little while. I know that they are going to get to play the Eagles again, Perloff, because they're division rivals. But when you get gifted what the Dallas Cowboys got gifted, which was a third chance in this game, not even a second chance, a third chance at the very end of the game where they are driving, they've got no timeouts, they're moving the football, and the Eagles are just imploding. Just penalty after penalty after penalty puts the Dallas Cowboys at the 6-yard line. And not only can you not punch the ball in there, you end up backing yourself up because you start committing penalties. And then Dak Prescott takes a bad sack, sandwiched around 2 bad penalties. And then this sort of, I've been calling it like a mini Hail Mary, if you will, from like the 27-yard line. And it got to CeeDee Lamb, but it was short.
Nope, this is not going to stick around at all. In 2 weeks, the Cowboys are about to thump the Giants and the Panthers, which is accomplishment at all. They'll be. You're
not going to get credit for those.
They'll be 7-3. There's a couple issues here that I think Cowboys ought to keep close eye on. Jalen Hurts, I think, needs knee surgery. Like, this is clearly a huge problem. So their main competition, the Eagles quarterback, is limping, and the 49ers seem to have major injury issues too. If you take those two teams out of the equation, honestly, I think they'll take Detroit. I think things are shaping up kind of decently for Dallas. Last night's win doesn't mean the end of anything for me if I'm the Cowboys. Yes, first of all, they get the Eagles in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I think they're going to thump the next two teams. Everyone's going to be back on that bandwagon for no real reason because anybody could thump the Giants and the Panthers. I did not see any desperation coming out of that loss for Dallas.
Can we hear from Dak Prescott, please, Carlos, saying the Cowboys are going to learn from this loss?
They got this one. Sucks. We're going to take it. We're going to move forward and use the fight, use a lot of the success. A lot of good things came out of this game despite the loss.
Okay, so that's a healthy way to think. That's going to drive Cowboys fans absolutely bonkers because the question is not like, can you hang in with the Eagles? The question is, can you make good on a opportunity when it is presented to you? And that's where the Cowboys always seem to fall short, and that's why Dak Prescott seems to fall short, which is nobody believes that in a clutch moment and situation that he's going to be able to be the difference.
So what had happened if he had won last night? What do you think we'd be saying today? We'd be like, oh, that's great. Now do it in the playoffs. Because it doesn't even matter what happened last night because everyone thinks the Cowboys come up short in the postseason. That's their issue, not whether they can win a divisional game here. They were probably going to split with the Eagles anyway. I am not coming out of that
second game yet. So.
Yeah, but I'm not coming out of that with any kind of panic. The Cowboys are just where they are in the NFC every year, and I think this year might be the chance to really do something in the playoffs. If they could play that game last night, they're going to take that. That was in Philly. I'm not sure they have to go through the link again. This I'm telling you, there's reasons to be optimistic if you're the Cowboys.
Okay, well, they're not going to get home field because the Eagles are going to either have home field. The Eagles are winning the division.
I feel like the Niners and the Eagles will eat each other up in the playoffs, and the Cowboys will get the Lions at some point. I don't know why I feel this. I haven't done the math.
There's no evidence here.
It's one thing to lose a nighttime, sort of late afternoon game in the link. That does not spell any kind of doom for the Cowboys at all. And they could get a little bit better. You saw a lot of signs. Their defense, their vaunted defense of Micah Parsons didn't even get anything going yesterday. Imagine if Micah Parsons had showed up for that game and caused the kind of havoc he did. I mean, he usually does.
We have polls up. Do we have competing polls up, EJ? We have multiple polls up. Can you read them all?
Yeah, we have multiple polls up here. So let's get an update. So we started the day with will Dak Prescott ever come through in the clutch? We have 24% say yes, 76% say no. So then per Perloff, you want an update on the poll, update 2, was the Cowboys' loss against the Eagles on Dak Prescott? And here are some interesting results here. 39% say yes, 60% say no. So that
I'm surprised.
Leaned in a different direction. Now, the other poll we have floating out there, non-Cowboys related, was about Josh McDaniels, who, of course, we learned yesterday got upset at Antonio Pierce for mentioning his beloved Patriots and their loss while Pierce was speaking on behalf of the team prior to McDaniels' firing.
Right.
So we asked the question, will Josh McDaniels get another head coaching job? 5.7% say yes, 94.3% say no.
Man, can we just take that poll and just send it to every owner in the NFL so they can all see exactly what the public thinks about Josh McDaniels? Just in case you were thinking about putting him on your whiteboard of hiring him. We know there's a lot of turnover every year.
47 years old. He'll probably have 10 more years of offensive coordinator. He just catches fire 1 year. Some idiot owner will do it again.
I just, can we put this show in a time capsule? And if any owner needs to open up the time capsule in 10 years, they can, because he's a terrible coach. And Antonio Pierce might end up being a good coach, and maybe he'll get the job, who knows, full time. But that could have been a statue out there coaching yesterday. It did not matter. They were winning that game by 2 scores simply because McDaniels was out of the building.
I got to tell you, I think that you're being a little harsh on McDaniels in the sense that every Raiders coach is a failure. What's the common element of all these failures?
Mark Davis.
Well, the Raiders. The Raiders are a mess. I'm not sure you could bring in Bill Belichick in his prime and he's going to fix it. Actually, maybe we'll see next year.
My question, though, would be, has there been any coach set up for more success while being hired by the Raiders than Josh McDaniels?
What are you talking about? That roster is full of bad decisions.
They signed Devontae Adams. They have Max Crosby.
I know they have 2 great players,
right? And they just came off of 10-win season where they made the playoffs. Like most Raider coaches that get hired, they're coming off of a mess.
2 wins,
2 wins, 3 wins, complete circus. Like he wasn't coming into that. He came into a fairly stable situation, and then he lit the house on fire.
And also had the GM with the familiarity. You know, it's not like a GM who hired him, but an arranged marriage.
One of the best running backs in the NFL.
I think you're judging the Raiders all wrong. Do you think that was a fairly stable situation? I do not think it was a fairly stable situation before he got in there. And that whole, how many bad draft picks? Look at their draft. Look at this year's draft pick. Tyree Wilson, they have made so many. You can't miss in the first round that many times and still have a good roster. Right, it's impossible.
But stars win in the NFL, and the Raiders have star power. It's not like he came in with the cupboard completely bare. You have one. You have one of the best running backs. You have one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. You have a quarterback who just led you to the playoffs, and you have the dumpster fire you had last year and then this season.
And that's why they won a few games this year.
Also, the crazy thing is, like, you dump Derek Carr. First, the last regime gave him the no trade clause. Duh. But then you dump Derek Carr, but you don't do it to get a high draft pick the next year when you are picking in the top 10. So it's like, all right, so we traded out Derek Carr for Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, I mean,
it was a risk. It was a risk when they did
upgrade there, and then you're expecting that Garoppolo is going to, like, all of a sudden just take that Josh McDaniels offense because he knew it in New England, but because he had foot surgery in the offseason, he gets no time to develop any. Like, it's all just so bad.
Let me read you their draft picks. This year, Tyree Wilson, number 7. I mean, that is already looking like a problematic one. Alex Leatherwood. Remember him, the Alabama guy that no one could understand? Henry Ruggs and Damon Arnett in 2020. What happened with Ruggs was tragic. Damon Arnett was obviously a very famous disaster.
Yeah.
Cleveland Farrell, 2019, nobody understood the pick then. No one understands it now. I know he's probably might win a ring and with the Niners. Josh Jacobs was probably a good pick, but he's a running back. So they've really, there's no way they can have depth on this team. I know their stars are great, but the good teams kind of are well balanced around their entire roster. I don't think the Raiders are.
But even Josh McDaniels couldn't seem to figure out a guy who they did draft who is good, Hunter Renfrow. The guy was in the doghouse, and then he comes out against the Giants yesterday, and all of a sudden he's back part of the offense. He looks like the slot machine again. I mean, this went beyond just Raiders are terrible, and therefore Josh McDaniels came into a bad situation. Like that team, yes, they drafted poorly. Yes, they don't have depth. but there's no excuse for them looking as inept as they have so far this season.
Do you remember there was a clip from a while ago it was like Derwin James from the Chargers, and he was being asked who's the toughest person to cover. It's like 2 years ago, and he had Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, and Josh McDaniels said, I don't want anything to do with him.
And I was like, wait a minute, no. He's like, watch the tape. Anyway.
But by the way, it's not like Josh McDaniels doesn't know how to use a short white slot receiver. I mean, that's the kind of thing they invented in New England, right?
He built a career on it.
And
what happened?
And one more thing to defend McDaniels. That game that Brian Hoyer had a few weeks ago, maybe that's on McDaniels.
Against the Bears.
That was one of the worst quarterback games I've ever seen.
Then why didn't Aiden O'Connell play?
I don't know.
See,
I'm not sure.
thing.
And also, Aiden O'Connell's a 4th-round rookie. It's not like he has Tom Brady back there.
But they went to him this week.
Yeah, he did get this team to 3-3. It's not like, I mean, and honestly, with quarterback injuries, and they knew they were taking a risk with Jimmy G. That was a risk. They're like, well, let's just take a puncher's shot here that'll stay healthy.
So the report from Jay Glazer, let's hear it again. There was like a big sort of venting meeting where they let all the players, I think some of the coaches even, vent about what they thought was wrong, and it got pretty bad. And for some reason, Josh McDaniels decides that Antonio Pierce should address the team. So let's hear cut 14. He let Antonio Pierce address the team, but then did not like what he said.
Josh McDaniels actually had Antonio Pierce get up and speak on behalf of him and the coaches. When Antonio Pierce got up there, he said, look, guys, we have to have our own culture. It's got to be about culture here. And we also have to look at it. And he brought up the old Giants team that beat the Patriots, Josh McDaniels' team, in the Super Bowl in 2007 season. He said, no matter who we played, we thought we could beat them. We had a game plan that we could beat them. We had to believe that, and that's not here. We have to believe it here at the Raiders. We could beat anybody.
And Josh McDaniels apparently did not like that. Do we have some more?
He finishes up that speech. Everybody thinks they're great, except for Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels then goes over to him and says, don't ever talk about the Patriots like that. And then you really saw how divided that building got. That got up to Mark Davis, and I think Mark Davis looked at it and go, okay, I'm going to choose the guy who believes that we can win every single week, and that's what his plan's going to be. And by the way,
Yeah, so this is all bad. First of all, the fact that actually happened, and I think Jay Glazer's information is basically as airtight as any of the insiders. The fact that got out means somebody not just wanted to kick Josh McDaniels while he was down, but really wanted to embarrass him, because that's embarrassing that got out. Two, the other thing that got out, Perloff, is that players were like having dinner with the owner to like complain, basically, or to talk about the future of the franchise.
That's a good sign.
Josh McDaniels, he should have known from the first appetizer that his ass was going to get shipped out.
Yeah.
The GM getting fired too, less than 2 years in, that's rare.
Okay, here's the experiment. Antonio Pierce will probably have an interim bump, and they'll look really good. And then at the end of the year, they'll look really bad because they are the Raiders. I'm curious. Interims never get the head coaching job. You think he has a chance? Was Josh McDaniels that bad that a different coach can change this? I personally don't think so, but that was a good start at least. This
was like an addition by subtraction, 100%. And they got a favorable matchup here. The Giants stink, and their quarterback got hurt. So this probably looked a little bit better than maybe it will. But I don't know. Antonio Pierce, he might have a shot here. My feeling is it could have been anyone coaching that team yesterday. They were going to win by 2 scores. Anyone. Anyone but Josh McDaniels.
And also, I don't think Tommy DeVito is going to come within 2 scores of anybody in the NFL right now. That is talking about a backup situation that is a little bit of a mess.
Well, it was supposed to be Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
So this is the third string guy.
Okay, so and by the way, it's Raiders-Jets on Monday Night Football. Is it Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football?
It's going to be Sunday night. Tonight we have Jets-Chargers for Monday night. So we're talking about 2 Jets matchups against some AFC West teams that are, let's just say, not exactly airtight when it comes to how they normally play football.
It's putting it kindly. We will get to the biggest thing from yesterday. We'll do that in a minute, but today's Monday Night Football preview is sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Jets ride a 3-game winning streak into this primetime pairing with a defense that sits among the top 10 this season. The Chargers scored 30 in last week's win, but the offense has been too inconsistent to make up for a poor pass defense. Tonight, Chargers are a 3.5-point favorite. When's the last time the Jets were on a 3-game winning streak?
Oh, I don't know. When I was in diapers, maybe?
I find this interesting from a ratings perspective. I know fans don't care about ratings, but the Jets-Eagles had a huge rating. And then the Chargers-Bears on, was it Sunday Night Football, had the worst rating they've really had in a long time. So you have the Jets seem to rate, and nobody wants to watch the Chargers. So what happens when these two immovable forces meet?
I don't know.
Are people into this game? I find this matchup incredibly compelling, but I don't know if anybody else does.
The Jets have a shot here because everyone in the AFC East lost yesterday. So
shot to what?
A shot to get a little bit closer.
They're right there in the
They're
wild
on the
card
fringe, man. They're right there about being a playoff team. Bills have a really hard schedule. Patriots are clearly out of it.
By the way, last time the Jets had a 3-game win streak was actually not that long ago. It was 2019. The Jets beat the Raiders. They beat Washington, and then they beat the Giants.
I'll argue one of those games in that 3-game win streak is one of the worst games I've ever seen an NFL team play. The rainy win over the Giants. That was
well, no. We're talking about this season.
This season,
oh, yeah,
I say they have a 3-game win streak.
One of the worst games of all time.
Gigantic asterisk next to that 3-game win streak. Although I think they'll really match up a lot better tonight.
The best story from the weekend, hands down. We've got that for you coming up next. It's got great sound. You're not going to want to miss it. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, you can stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. We're at week 9, Maggie. How many backup quarterbacks are already playing? 50? I don't understand what's going on. I thought the 1 o'clock slate was hideous. It was hideous, but it was still a compelling week around the NFL.
Let's get to it. Let's run the hurry up offense. All right, EJ's going to throw out a game. We'll give you our 30-second recap of what happened. Go ahead, EJ.
All right, so it was as Perloff said, a boring and 1 o'clock slate, but we did have some interesting games. So let's begin with this early game. This was actually before 1 o'clock. It was Dolphins-Chiefs. Dolphins winning 21-14.
Yeah, this game came down to what was a very unique play that you're not going to see again, which is Tyreek Hill gets stripped of the ball before halftime. Trent McDuffie stuffs him on a short pass. Mike Edwards scooped it up, and as Tyreek Hill tries to tackle him, Edwards lateraled the ball to Brian Cook, who then took off like he was racing for the gold medal, and he found the end zone, and that put the Chiefs up 21-0, and the Dolphins had a shot at the end to tie it, but Tua could not complete a pass and then could not handle a snap.
Interesting series in the fourth quarter to me. The Dolphins had an 8-minute drive while they were trailing. They just ran. I don't think McDaniels trusts Tua right now, which is very bizarre because he was an MVP candidate. I think he just wants to run.
All right, let's move on. Let's get back to the stateside when it came to this game. So let's start with, Browns-Cardinals.
Yeah.
This one, ugly one for the Browns.
First of all, can we just talk about those white Cardinals uniforms? They are just a gorgeous sight to behold. Unfortunately, Clayton Tune, as good as he looked in that, was not very good at playing NFL quarterback. I love Clayton Tune, was my dark horse Heisman pick last year, EJ. You didn't know about that about me. Yeah, it's not going to happen. The dream is over. The
Heisman dream died already, but now it's
now the NFL dream is dead. 4th round quarterback. It's not dead, but I think the Cardinals are full in the tank.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they traded away Josh Dobbs just to get to Clayton Tune, who went 11 for 20 with 58 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Listen, tough. That Browns defense is amazing. And who knew Deshaun Watson was going to play? How about that? He played, he did well, and he won.
Yeah, he played okay.
Yeah, he actually did play okay. So speaking of Josh Dobbs, next one we have here, surprise here, the Vikings with Josh Dobbs entering the fray, beat the Falcons on the road, 31-28.
Jaron Hall exits with a concussion. Josh Dobbs got to the building on Wednesday, leads them to a win. This is what it sounded like in the locker room.
In addition to everybody getting one in here, he deserves to keep the actual one he played with, Josh Dobbs.
As they say, it's a team win. I couldn't have done it without teammates, offense, defense, special teams, coaches. Shoot, Grant spending 5 extra hours with me on Friday going through walkthroughs. And I'm thankful to be here. I'm excited, man. We'll enjoy this one. Well, as they all say, cheers to the next one.
Yes, and whoever Grant is, the only person he knows in the building.
Yeah, cheers to those generic teammates that I don't know their names.
Thank you and you and
Grant.
That guy over there. Dobbs literally up on a teammate's shoulders after the game, like Rudy Rudiger style.
Yeah,
incredible.
Another nice effort, Arthur Smith. Thank you, Atlanta, for coming out.
One game we haven't talked plenty about, and for good reason probably. Packers beat the Rams 20-3 in Lambeau.
So I think I speak for all of America and all Packers Nation saying, hey, what did that win over the Rams mean yesterday? Did that mean anything? We scored in the first half, and Jordan Love put up some decent numbers, but that was a B effort by the Rams. I still don't know if the Packers have fixed all their ails.
I don't think so. I mean, this was overmatched a little bit from the start. You do like Aaron Jones getting going a little bit. He had 20 carries, 73 yards and a touchdown. Just keep running the ball. A.J. Dillon, 9 carries, 40 yards. Just keep running the ball.
It was a late pick by the Commanders that helped them seal the win over the Patriots in Foxborough, 20-17.
Yeah, this game, whoa. I was really surprised by the sound coming out of the game is Jonathan Allen and others saying, Sam Howell's the guy. We have our guy for the next 15 years. Personally, I didn't see that yesterday. Like, why this game? Why did that seal it for you? I mean, I know it was a back and forth kind of game. On the road, you win. I didn't think Sam Howell was so great.
But he's shockingly productive. I mean, his numbers are huge. Yeah. It's unbelievable. As an NFC East fan of the Eagles, I'm thrilled that Sam Howell is going to be there forever because he put up another 325-yard effort. He's among the league leaders right now. I think they're going to stick with him next year.
They
and I'm not convinced they're going to be good.
Fourth quarter. Like, what? Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, okay, like, compared to Mac Jones, he's basically Joe Theismann.
We had 3 picks of Tyson Badgett to help the Saints beat the Bears at the Superdome 24-17.
Can we talk about Taysom Hill setting another record yesterday? Become the first guy, I think, to throw 10 touchdowns, catch 10 touchdowns, and run for 10 touchdowns since Frank Gifford. He's the only interesting thing about that team right now. I'm sorry, because Derek Carr is still in the Bermuda Triangle of how good is he. Defense is really good, but I don't take anything away from that win for the Saints. They're just in that NFC South crapapalooza division. They'll probably win it, but it doesn't mean a thing to me.
They are by far the best team in the NFC South, and that's not saying a lot, but they are by far the best team. Atlanta just lost to Josh Dobbs. The Panthers stink, and the Bucs also lost to rookie C.J. Stroud, which I'm sure we're going to get to in a minute.
But the Bears hung around in that. Okay.
We'll get to it right now. The Texans come from behind to beat the Buccaneers 39-37. C.J. Stroud's breaking a rookie record with 5 passing touchdowns.
And he is your offensive rookie of the year, ladies and gentlemen. And boy, does he deserve it. C.J. Stroud looked amazing. Now, he's going to get all of the accolades, but can we also just shout out when a non-kicker has to come in and kick a field goal? And that happened with Dare Agunabawale. I hope I got that right. Amazing. Nailed a tie-breaking 29-yard field goal to put Houston up 33-30 with 9 minutes left to go. This guy is a running back. He's not a kicker. I love it.
4-4. Do you guys say Texans in playoffs, out of playoffs?
I think they could be in, and my Bills might be out, which is sad.
I'm going to say out for now.
I say out. Okay, what's next game?
All right, so get to Baltimore and Seattle. The Ravens stomped the Seahawks 37-3 at home.
Seattle they said, got in there. It was a close game early, right? Until the end of the second quarter when Baltimore, they just said, okay, that's fine. We're just going to go home in Seattle. This doesn't matter. It was an NBA game, basically. They're like checked out about halfway through the third quarter.
Nobody will give a pass to a team that gets their butt kicked more than Andrew Perloff.
Out of conference on the East Coast. Listen, you got to load manage, Maggie. It's a long NFL season.
I forgot Kawhi Leonard is playing for the Seattle Seahawks. Lamar, the passing numbers are not gaudy, but this offense is so good. The defense is still number 1 scoring defense in the league. We know the special teams has a Hall of Fame kicker. It's the best team in the AFC right now. Baltimore Ravens.
Another rookie quarterback throws 3 picks and a loss. This time, Bryce Young throwing 3 picks, including 2 pick sixes to the Colts in the Colts 27-13 win over the Panthers.
So our big debate is it all Bryce Young or that team around him? I mean, can you at least acknowledge that the Panthers gave him a crap roster?
Yeah, but and this was totally flawed, but he does not even look like close to what you're thinking the number 1 overall pick is going to look like. And
look who he's throwing to, Steven Sullivan and Tommy Tremble. I mean, who's Steven Sullivan?
He can still, well, I mean, you've heard of Hayden Hurst and Adam Thielen. You've heard of DJ Chark, and you have a run game in Chuba Hubbard and Bryce Young. And the problem is if you're going to keep throwing pick sixes, you're going to put your team behind where they can't utilize the run game in a way you'd want. Bryce Young is having a tough season. These interceptions look awful.
Been a rough year for Bryce Young for sure. So let's go to the game where the fighting Perloffs, the Philadelphia Eagles, showed up and showed out in front of their number 1 fan, the Eagles, beating the Cowboys 28-23.
Okay, Eagles screwed up the trade deadline big time because their defensive backfield is just awful. Reed Blankenship, the Cowboys were hunting him all game long. It's terrible at safety. Kevin Byard came over, not good enough. So if they don't sack the quarterback, it's a completion. That is the rule. It makes me feel a little nervous.
Wait, I thought a win's a win here, and
no,
you should just you only can look at the win-loss record, and it doesn't matter how it looks.
No,
that's what you told us 25 minutes ago.
I know, but I'm thinking, how does this relate to the Super Bowl? It's basically the pass rush gets home, or it's a long completion. That is the only 2 options against the Eagles. Their defensive backs could not cover you or me. I don't know why Darius Slay wasn't on CeeDee Lamb, but CeeDee Lamb had 200 yards yesterday.
Yeah, he's amazing.
That's a bad sign. They did tough it out. What was your quick 30-second take on that?
On the Cowboys had a gift wrap to them at the end. You had a minute. You're not going to get a lot of those chances where the Eagles look uncharacteristically sloppy in the last play, at the last drive of the game. You get down to the 6-yard line, win that game on the road, Dak Prescott, and couldn't do it. That one's going to sting.
All right. Now, speaking of teams of our hosts here, we have the Bills going to Cincinnati. The Bengals winning 24-18 on 348 yards from Joe Burrow.
Can I start this one? You're always overly negative on the Bills. I'm going to give you the positive spin.
Oh, good.
They went into Cincinnati against the hottest tied with Lamar as the hardest quarterback in the NFL. Joe Burrow, you're not going to win that game, Maggie.
No.
The Buffalo Bills are not going to win that game. Nobody's going to win that game. Cincinnati would have beat all 31 teams in the NFL, in my opinion.
You're absolutely right. Nobody was probably going to win that game, but you don't have to put yourself so far behind the 8 ball in the first half when you're going score for score, and then all of a sudden you start taking these so unnecessary risks. In my opinion, listen, you need some explosive plays to win, but Bills can't buy an explosive play against this defense and could really get nothing going offensively. Bad turnover by Dalton Kincaid in the third quarter.
I could hear you yelling from New Jersey when that ball came out on Dalton Kincaid.
But the thing is, the guy got upended. He got put in a blender, so of course he was going to drop the ball. I think they probably would have scored on that drive, though, which would have made things a lot more interesting. Credit to the Bengals. Their offense gets out to a lead, and their defense just figures you out.
Absolutely. I like Kincaid, by the way. I think he's going to be very good moving forward. I think James Cook, the running back, could be 5% more explosive. There's some plays where he'll get the ball in a pass where he's not taken to the house.
Well, I love Cook, you're right, but Damian Harris was also supposed to be like the change of pace back, and he obviously got hurt a couple games ago and had to get carted off the field.
Now instead of change of pace back, it's Josh Allen is your quarterback.
He's the run game. He's the quarterback. He's the run game. Apparently, he's also the general manager because he texted the GM during the draft, Dalton Kincaid, right before they made the pick.
You're still not sold on Dalton Kincaid, are you? He's going to make multiple Pro Bowls for your team.
No, he's fine. It's just you have to target him 10 times. It's clearly the safety blanket. You have to get Gabe Davis involved. Now we're getting deep in the weeds here, the Bills, but you have to. Diggs is amazing. You have to get Gabe Davis involved. You need a second wide receiver who's going to be able to stretch the field.
Kincaid also amazing hair. I noticed that last night's game. Yeah. That was impressive by me. The salad, good stuff.
I mean, Bills tight ends both have good hair. Dawson Knox,
good hair,
really good.
Is that guy coming back at all, Dawson Knox?
Probably not. I think they gave him $30 million.
And by the way, how did the Bills not get through a single defensive play without somebody getting hurt? Just one play? That'd be nice if somebody was, played 2 plays in a row.
And
you're a nice guy.
I know, and you're like, you're such a negative fan. Wait a minute. I'm just watching what's going on, and it all sucks.
Yeah, the announcer said there's billions of dollars on the bench for the defense because everybody's hurt. I don't know my
They're
salary cap
expensive
math,
guys, they're
but
cheap
billions
guys.
felt a little strong. Did you hear that line? I thought, well, I don't know. Is there really billions of salary cap? Maybe there is.
If Tirico said it, it's got to be true. Andrew Bogish is here, has that same level of cachet. If Bogish says it, it's got to be true. So what are the headlines?
Well, we start with your friends in Buffalo. The whiteboard said it's been 20 days since a meltdown. I feel like that's no longer an exact count, but the meltdown as you rub your head very much on the table after last night in Cincinnati, down 14 at the half. The Bills did get within 6 of the Bengals in the fourth quarter, but Cincy kept the ball for the final 3.5 minutes to win 24-18. Sean McDermott's squad is now 5-4.
These guys do a great job. They're invested, and look, it's tough to win in the NFL. You go against a good football team, you got to do things right, and we didn't do enough things right tonight in order to win.
They are running out of time to do things right. Josh Allen picked off for the 5th game in a row. Dalton Kincaid in that hair fumbling in the 4th in Bengal territory. And that battered defense let Joe Burrow throw for 348 yards and 2 touchdowns. His team has reeled off 4 consecutive wins.
Really happy with how we played the last couple of weeks. We got to keep it going. We were 1-0 this week. We got to be 1-0 next week, too. This week means nothing. We'll come in tomorrow, watch the tape, lift, go about our business. We'll go from there.
The AFC North is nuts, maybe more than usual. The Ravens lead it at 7-2 after thumping the Seahawks yesterday, 37-3. Cincy, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland all 5-3. The Browns blanked the Cardinals yesterday, 27-0. They held Arizona to 57 yards of offense and just 6 first downs. Giants QB Daniel Jones suffered a suspected torn ACL in yesterday's 36 loss in Vegas. He was just back from missing 3 games with a neck issue. Vikings running back Cam Akers likely suffered the 2nd torn Achilles of his career in that amazing 31-28 Josh Dobbs win in Atlanta. And Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert reportedly broke a forearm in the 28-23 decision over the Eagles. Over the Cowboys, that is. Week 9 finishes with the Jets hosting the Chargers. Things remain tough and ugly for Gang Green, but they're 4-3. Here's wideout Garrett Wilson.
It doesn't happen overnight, man. It's really something that we locked in on, and we tried to make it our identity as far as how we go about everything. Because it doesn't just happen on Sunday, man. It's really got to be a mindset. Whenever it talks about treatment, whatever it may be, but just finishing.
Can't wait to see what Aaron Rodgers does on the field pregame to grab some attention.
Well, he doesn't have Taylor Swift to have to.
True.
So
the stage is his.
It's all yours.
Wait, who's Justin Herbert as a celebrity girlfriend, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's Steve Bisciotti's daughter, I think.
Oh, Taylor Bisciotti.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not really a celebrity. Sorry.
No
That's
one else.
news to me. I'm usually good at that game.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
been
know
about
that.
2 years, I think.
Really?
Listen, Josh Allen's dating Haley Steinfeld. You
That I
never
knew.
see her.
Yeah.
It's just Taylor.
Taylor.
It's just the fake relationships.
And speaking of that, apparently in New York this weekend, Brittany didn't go to Germany. She was here in Manhattan hanging with Taylor Swift and the lady from Game of Thrones.
I know.
That hates a Jonas brother.
Oh, right. They're buddies, aren't they?
They got divorced.
Exactly my point.
Yeah, no, she definitely hates him. Yeah, that's probably true.
I actually learned something this weekend. I should have noted. I read this angry column that people are mad that Taylor Swift's getting not enough attention, and Simone Biles is dating an NFL player. Did
They're
you guys
married.
Yeah.
No, they're married.
Yeah, she got married to a guy who plays on the Texans, I think.
Yeah, and the guy whose last name is really hard to say, I'm pretty sure that's the brother of Enrique Ogunbowale, who's a really good WNBA player,
Yes,
Notre Dame star. I
of
believe that's her
course.
brother that kicked field goals yesterday.
The running back
Yeah.
who got called into kicking duty
Yeah.
because Fairbairn pulled a quad.
That was not the most ridiculous thing in that game somehow. It was CJ Stroud.
It was amazing that he's doing kickoffs and kicking a field goal, an actual field goal,
Right.
to give him a lead.
And twice the
They're
idiot
tied.
Buccaneers took penalties, so we could kick off from the 50, not the 35, and just boom in touchbacks. It was amazing.
He really does have a great leg.
Their season now lost. USC is firing D coordinator Alex Grinch. They gave up 52 points to Washington Saturday, are near the bottom nationally in almost every single important defensive category. We can all relax now. The Memphis Grizzlies finally have their first win, 112-100 in Portland last night. Here's head coach Taylor Jenkins.
This game was back and forth, lead changes throughout the night. Fourth quarter, I think they're up 9 at one point, but our guys just kept staying the course, and that's what we've been talking about. Just every guy stepping up, knowing our game plan. We call it our winning game plan, or our winning recipe, and just guys fully embraced that for the majority of the game, and we didn't let this one slip away.
Desmond,
How are things on Neptune?
That sounds like when I'm talking to the fan. when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and the fans going and tried to make your voice sound like a robot. That was that.
Yeah, I can't decide loading that one in if that was their fault or my fault. I'm not computer savvy enough to know if that's our equipment or their equipment.
Was that a real coach or was that just AI?
Well,
just
I
Chat
didn't-
GPT coach.
If Taylor Jenkins walked in here right now, would you know who he is?
No.
Only
And if
because,
you don't-
I might know his.
I'm obsessed with the NBA, so I would.
only because he's had to do some very uncomfortable caping for Ja Morant.
Right, which
That's
is
the only way I'd know.
Which is the what?
Like,
the
no,
last.
no, he doesn't have a problem.
Does
He's
he look
okay.
a little bit like George Carl with a beard?
See, I was going to say he looks like the guy from Stranger Things, the cop.
Oh, yeah, whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah, that guy's great.
I can't think.
David
Hopper.
Harbour?
Yeah, Harbor's his real name. Who we've seen outside this building more than once. I wonder if he lives around here.
He definitely does. I see him all the time. Yeah, you're right. He looks a lot like David Harbour.
So if we take the Taylor Jenkins life story, he's in. That's who we're casting.
Ooh, not sure you're gonna green light that one, but okay.
Well, straight to streaming, no theater release. I should mention this because we had the huge hoopla, felt the palpable buzz Friday of the beginning of the play-in tourney. Now the NBA has James Harden debuting as a Clipper tonight against the Knicks at the Garden, so plan accordingly. Baseball handed out its gold gloves last night. 13 first-time winners, including Yankee rookie shortstop Anthony Volpe and Rockies rookie center fielder Brenton Doyle, whom I had never heard of until last night.
That's like an old school 1920s, but Brenton Doyle.
Congrats to him.
Let's go play
whoever
some
you are.
Peppa, Brenton.
Hockey last night, the Ducks rallied for a 4-2 win over the Golden Knights. Anaheim has won 6 in a row. 5 of them needed a third period rally like last night. For Vegas, this is their first regulation loss, ending their season opening 12-game point streak, the best ever by a Cup champion. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Bogusch. We were talking about just going back to the running back who kicked a field goal for the Houston Texans yesterday, Dare Ogunbowale. What's the best backup situation who gets called into emergency duty? Because, backup quarterbacks, third string emergency quarterbacks, you go to the Wildcat, whatever. But usually, when you see position players pitch in baseball, it's because it's a blowout. It's not because you're in a tight game. Like yesterday, you're in a dogfight of a game.
Yeah. Nothing beats the e-bug in hockey. The guy who has to sit in the arena in case one of the two or both actual goalies on a team get hurt, and then he gets to play. You remember the guy in Toronto? I think his name was David Ayers. He's like a 41-year-old beer league guy.
Right.
And he played in one NHL game. You can't top that.
That was good.
I will say, I know this guy was a actual first baseman and he was a great player. He became a great player. But Wally Pipp and Lou Gehrig to me is the ultimate story where Wally Pipp has a headache. He can't play.
Yeah, hangover.
Lou Gehrig. Yeah, exactly. Lou Gehrig goes into the game and then he becomes Lou Gehrig. I did mention when we talked about it in the text, Tom Tupa came in and played quarterback for the Jets in week 1.
He was a star college quarterback.
He was a punter in the NFL, and he threw 2 touchdowns.
He was a quarterback at Ohio State, though, wasn't he? Not a star, but I think he played some quarterback at Ohio State. It's a little different. I think he got recruited for both.
A punter who hadn't played quarterback considerably in the NFL, not in the NFL, hadn't played it for years.
He's like the 5th best Cardinals quarterback in history. Look at that franchise.
I think remember last year that one of the Chiefs safeties came in to do punts, I think, because their Harrison Butker, I think, got hurt.
By the way,
or something, or whoever the punter is for the Chiefs, not the kicker.
Does Doug Flutie doing drop kicks
that was awesome.
count?
Can I fact check a bogus fact from earlier in the show?
Earlier.
Do you guys want this? This is pretty egregious.
If Bogusch got something wrong, my whole world is turned upside
You
down.
were just typing it too. Is somebody messaging about it or?
Do you think Bogusch was right that Vancouver was an original MLS
he
franchise?
said Toronto.
No. I think they were an original one, Vancouver.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Toronto.
They were joined in 2011. They were a 17th franchise.
All right, they're 12 years old. You said there's a team in Vancouver?
No, I had no
was
idea.
still closer to right than you were.
That's an awesome name, the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yeah.
I want to root for that
You
team.
basically said, "What's soccer?" And I said, I think they've been around a while.
Honestly, Bogusch teaches us a lot.
No.
In the moment.
No, I was so fascinated.
Let me fact check the error that I got wrong.
Just the fact that MLS playoffs are going on at all.
If I'm fact checking you on MLS, then trust me, I don't know what I'm talking about. I would never fact check you on something important.
Somebody checked that there's a baseball player named Brenton Doyle, and he won a Gold Glove yesterday for the Rockies.
Thank you, Andrew Bogusch. Coming up, so much more. Oh, we have not gotten to the very polarizing moment from the college football weekend. We'll get to that. in just seconds. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
back. Maggie and Perloff. Major stories of the day have been the end of the game for the Dallas Cowboys. And Dak Prescott had a chance. Cowboys had a chance on the road. Could not come through in the final waning seconds of the game in Philadelphia.
Oh, stop this Cowboys panic, everybody. They're playing the Giants and the Panthers. They're going to be 7-3 headed into that next Eagles game. Everyone's going to be like, oh, the Red Hot Cowboys coming to town. Long season. This is a good Cowboys team. Do you get the not the same old Cowboys feeling a little bit at least, Maggie? Just a little bit.
Listen,
or is it the same old Dak feeling at the end?
I picked them to go to the Super Bowl, so I'm hoping that they're not the same old Cowboys. But I would kind of say the same thing about the Cowboys that we've said about the Miami Dolphins. Who's the good team they've beaten so far?
Yeah.
Find me the good win.
This might be their best game that they played yesterday. Yes.
Yeah, the wins came against the Rams, the Chargers, New England, the Jets, the Giants. Like, again, we don't really have a big thing here, like a big sample size early on that they can beat good teams.
A lot of those teams were good at certain points of the 2000s and 2010s. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers, that would be a good win.
Chargers played tonight, by the way.
Patriots? Oh, yeah. 6 years ago.
That used to look like a really big win. Now, not so much. Another big story that came from college football was something that was a lot more polarizing, Perloff, than I expected it to be, which is Caleb Williams and USC. Now, Trojans lost for the third time, so that's it. Not going to be playing for anything really meaningful this season anymore. But Caleb Williams, after the loss to Washington, just sobbing in the arms of his mother, who was in the front row, and this has become a polarizing topic.
Yeah, Caleb Williams, it's one of those things he had nowhere to go but down, so people are trying to find a reason to bring him down. To me, it's a non-factor. I am taking that guy one every single draft till the end of time.
I think it was actually kind of a positive for him because I think there were a lot of people who believe that college was just sort of a stepping stone point, like I have to go to college. I can't just go straight to the NFL, but I want to be the number one overall pick. And clearly this matters to him. Clearly this means a lot, whether because he's disappointed, whether he's feeling pressure, all that stuff. Now, when he gets to the NFL, odds are he's going to be on a pretty bad team. And the odds are he's going to do a lot of losing early on. So, he's got to be able to compartmentalize this a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of key remaining factors. He's going to go to a team with a new coach. You bring in an offensive guru. I don't know. Like, look what Eric Bieniemy's doing with Sam Howell. If you get the right offensive coach, Caleb Williams is going to kill it, say, in Arizona. Not going to win, but I think he needs to go with a great offensive coach, and he could still be brilliant.
Let's get to our shot of the day.
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. Because what would you rather be thinking about this early in the morning on a Monday than tequila? It's almost there, people. Today's shot of the day, well, you're going to need a little tequila for this. Perloff singing the Rocky theme song. Oh, boy.
There's only one song that plays in Philly.
Yeah, we know.
You could go Rocky 3, you could go Rocky 1, Rocky 2,
worshiping this
Rocky
fictional
4. Bum, 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 bum. Carlos, you better find that soon, or I'm going to definitely keep singing here.
Let's
bum, 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 bum.
Definitely.
Bum, 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 banana, banana.
Please save us. People are trying to get to work right now.
I'm just letting them sing it.
No, Carlos, save us.
This is what happens when Dak Prescott can't execute down the stretch. All you have to do, 5 yards away, make a play, don't get a false start, and then don't take a sack, and then we wouldn't have
We'd
Andrew
be subjected
Perloff singing.
to this. Yeah,
we wouldn't have to deal with this. But thanks, Dak.
Listen, you have many gifts, many great qualities. Singing is not one you're blessed with. And it takes one to know one. I'm not good either, but I don't try to do it either.
That was worse the second time around.
Maggie, you're Adele compared to me.
I feel like Adele.
There's a rule in my house that my two daughters, I'm not allowed to sing there, so I had to sing here.
Lucky us.
The second I start singing, it's get out of here, Dad.
They're wondering in the chat, did you sit next to Ryan Phillippe when you were at the Eagles game yesterday?
I think he must have been there. Bradley Cooper was about 75 yards behind me. I could see Bradley Cooper pop out. Bryce Harper was on the other side, which was disappointing. But that's who I really wanted to hang out with. Not that I got to hang out with anybody. I saw, it was really an incredible atmosphere there. They had the big flag out before the game. The Jets went overhead. I'm telling you, I credit the Cowboys for staying in there. I was intimidated. I'm an Eagles fan. That is one. Hey, by the way, Buffalo's going to be there on November 26th. Are we going?
Well, we were going to have the bet about who's got to eat the garbage plate with no hands. But considering how poorly the Bills have been playing, I don't really think I want to. I might have to find an exit ramp out of that bet.
Come on.
Come on. That game.
It's not that bad. I had to eat that chili with no hands.
I know. And
I'm still finding weird red oils around my hair anyway.
Thank you to DJ Stewart. Thank you to Carlos Ortiz. Thank you to Andrew Bogish and Andrew Kaplan, the Weedos, the coffee drinkers, and the callers. You guys are the best. See you tomorrow.
You're in a 5-minute break.